I may be an idiot, but there's one thing I'm not, sir, and that is an idiot. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, cartoons are not just for kids. This is modern escapism. Hi, my name is Oodles. You may remember me from such podcasts as Good Time Slim Uncle Doobie and the Great Frisco Freakout, The President's Neck is Missing, and America's Funniest Tornadoes. And today I am joined by the Jessica Rabbit of podcasting. It's Biggie.
Thank you.
The man that makes Peter Griffin seem teetotal, Stig.
Hi, everybody.
And finally, he's the editor, so respect his authority. It's Gadget.
You will respect my authority.
How are you doing, boys?
All right.
Marvellously.
Better than you.
How are you doing, Noodles?
I am fucking hanging out my ass.
This should be an entertaining episode.
I was literally thinking of like worst case scenarios. Should I text the boys and say, lads, I've been rushed to A&E, I'm poorly, I can't come in. But no, the show must go on and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk last. I'm going to let you three talk first. What have you been up to this week, Biggie?
Ooh. Yeah, I've had a bit of a unintended bleak week, should we call it. I ended up putting on a few movies and not realising the content, how bleak it got. So it was quite interesting for me. I started off with It Comes at Night, which is a 2017 American psychological horror film, written and directed by Trey Edward Schiffs. It stars, amongst others, Joel Edgerton, Christopher Abbott, Carmen Ejogo, and a great performance from Calvin Harrison Jr. and Riley Keough, who bizarrely appears in the other movie I watched. I had no idea they were related.
Big fan.
She's in both. She's also the granddaughter of Elvis Presley.
Wow.
The film basically focuses on a family hiding out in a home in the forest as Earth is taken over by a highly contagious disease. When their home is broken into one night by another man trying to find supplies for his family, they decide to join forces together until the new bond is eventually tested as one member of the family is suspected as having fallen sick. Oh. Great performances all round, particularly by Joel as the father, but Calvin's fantastic, who is sort of eager to trust the new arrivals, but his own curiosity, as he's also developing through his adolescence, threatens everything. The cinematography and the score are excellent in creating the paranoia for this movie, but yeah, it's quite bleak.
Was it filmed in March last year or something like that?
Seems
a bit close to reality there.
So strange, considering it was 2017. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And I just remember seeing a trailer for it, and I thought it was just a horror movie. I had no idea that. Sometimes I like to go into these things with no knowledge, and I remember seeing the trailer, thinking, "Oh, that looks pretty cool." But
I think I've seen the trailer.
I've seen the film. It's very much not what you think. If you watch, like Biggie says, if you watch the trailer, it's like, oh, this is a standard horror film, and the thing that comes at night isn't what you think it is. It starts to become obvious, like, while you watch it, but it isn't that kind of. It's
a bit misleading. You're right.
Yeah, it is.
Is it better than Cloverfield Lane? Is it 10 Cloverfield Lane?
It's a different type of movie,
reminded me of that. Then
it's kind of got a similar kind of vibe, but as I say, it's not horror. In that respect, it's definitely more of a psychological movie.
Yeah, it's definitely bleak. I'm just looking at what I put on Letterboxd here, and I started it with unnerving, bleak, and brimming with tension. So,
yeah, I totally recommend it. By the way, it's really, really good.
If you're in the right mindset for it,
absolutely. So then I followed that up with The Lodge.
I've seen that.
Cheered yourself up with that one, then, did you?
Yeah, it was a 2019 psychological horror movie, directed by Veronica Franz and Severin Fiala, I think is how you pronounce it. It stars again Riley Keough, Jaden Martell, who was from Stranger Things. Yeah. Liam McHugh, Alicia Silverstone, and Richard Armitage.
Love Richard Armitage.
Yeah, it's basically the plot follows a soon-to-be stepmother who's left alone with her fiance's 2 children as they go on holiday for Christmas, become stranded in this rural lodge. There, she and the children experience a number of unexplained events that seem to be connected to her past. Very eerie. Again, the trailer is a bit misleading. It's a really slow-paced, really sort of looking at the expressions, the minor dialogue between the characters. It's definitely not a fast-paced horror at all, but psychologically, yeah, it's a bit messed up.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. And then I finished that off with one of the happiest movies I've ever seen. It's The Joker.
Wow. The first time you've seen it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Smiles in it at least.
Go for it.
So, yeah, for those that don't know, in Gotham City, mentally troubled comedian Arthur Fleck is disregarded and mistreated by society. He then embarks on a downward spiral of revolution and bloody crime. This path brings him face to face with his alter ego, the Joker. It's an incredible character study by the performance of Joaquin Phoenix. I think it deserved its many plaudits.
That man can act, can't he? Fucking hell.
And
he's proved it several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently I kind of remember this at the time, the violence in the movie was debated for both sides.
Yeah.
I, for one, think it was necessary to create the story.
So do I.
I thought it was excellent. Really, really good.
Me and Pip went to see that at the cinema, and that first moment of kind of bloody violence that happens, it doesn't happen until about halfway through the film.
Yeah.
And it caught both of us off guard. It was like a jump scare in a horror film. It was sudden and brutal and matter of fact, and but then the scenes that followed after that one, where you kind of see that, you finally start to see the unraveling of Arthur. It's brilliant. It's such a good film.
And I really wasn't interested, hence why I never saw it when it first came out, because I didn't think it was necessary. I generally thought that Heath Ledger's performance in Batman was fantastic.
Different type of Joker, though, isn't it?
But exactly, and now I appreciate why they did this, because the graphic novels have tried to delve into the Joker's past in many of the books.
Well, they're all like unreliable narrators, aren't they? Each of his pasts are not real. Like, they're all different Earth Jokers, like Earth 3 Jokers.
I look at this as being a completely unreliable narrator.
Completely. 100%. Yeah. You don't know what's real, what isn't. And the fact that they used, I think it's Earth 3, the more closest to our Earth in the DC universe, and it's more like, imagine the Wall Street crash just continued. That's that backdrop where everything's just fucked constantly.
It's I think they did what I like most. I think they did a very good job of representing Gotham, because they used like a mix of New York and Chicago,
which is supposed to be.
Yeah. But the way they represented it was obviously the grime and the poverty, as opposed to the bits that you would normally see with Batman.
Yeah.
Like there's one sequence, I think, where he goes to a rich place. And that's it. Everything
and it's
else
not
is
in
just
town, is it? It's out of the city. So
and it's all kind of grimy and dirty and
I like that. I like that it's not in the DCE universe, whatever it's called either. It's just its own.
Yeah, I think they would be doing Joaquin Phoenix's performance a disservice if they put him in a superhero movie.
It's not about that, is it?
There's no reference to superheroes at all in this.
No, there's no powers in that universe.
Yeah, there's a vague cameo by the Wayne family, and that's about it.
It just needs to be its own thing.
Its own thing. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for the next Batman as well.
Don't do a add-on. Don't do a spin-off. Just
leave it.
Keep it as its own story. It's done. Yes, it made a ton of money.
Yeah,
but don't just leave it, because you're not gonna do better, in my opinion.
No. Same.
And his laugh as well is fantastic.
It's better than Jared Leto's, isn't it?
It's that genuine. It's that genuinely unhinged laughter that he managed to kind of tap into.
Yeah. Like genuine psychosis.
I love the way he's able to just turn it on and off.
Yes.
Like, he's able to do that laugh, and then you come out of it like that, like an instant, and it's like, it's so unnerving.
Yeah, but Joaquin Phoenix has had that stare since like Gladiator, where he can look straight through you. He does it in Signs and stuff, and he's not even a baddie in Signs. He's a goodie, but he just looks straight through you. Her, you've seen Her as well, haven't you?
Yeah, Her.
He can look. It's as if he's like looking. He's not looking at the camera, but he's like looking through to us, and he's
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant, that.
I think it was quite a long movie, but time
It is
just
quite
seemed
a long
to
movie,
go.
yeah.
I didn't take any notice of the time at all. I was totally
It's certainly not
immersed.
4 hours and 3 minutes, is it?
I don't even know what that looks like.
Excellent. They are some 3 bleak choices. So let's see if Gadget's got something happier to talk about.
I do.
Excellent.
The Last of Us 2.
I've been watching a film called The Road.
Oh, fuck me, no. Not again.
I haven't seen that.
Although, speaking of which, I mean, there is a kind of bleak America part to this one, but
Okay.
I'm going to slightly bend our rules and talk about a politics book, but it's not really about modern politics.
That's fine.
It's not current events or anything. It's called A Libertarian Walks into a Bear.
Okay.
It's by a journalist called Matthew. I'm definitely going to pronounce his surname wrong. Matthew Hongoltz Hetling. He writes like the New York Times and places like that. Basically, there's a place in America in New Hampshire called Grafton, and it's the only free town in America where libertarians it's a political ideology that kind of focuses on the idea that taxation is theft. You should be able to have your own money. The government shouldn't be able to take anything of it. Why should I pay for road repairs when I don't have a car? That kind of thing. It's like kind of grandiose selfishness, I guess. But I'm not making any judgment on it, but yeah, that's what it is.
Didn't it start in like New England, that movement? Somewhere along
That's where Grafton is.
Is it? Sorry.
I'm
hungover.
Not New England, New Hampshire. You're getting me confused with news.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grafton's where it started, and so the town has had like a very fractious relationship with the state government and with the federal government, and it basically at one point in the 80s the libertarians realised, hang on a second, this town doesn't pay taxes, so they all start moving there. Grafton also has a bear problem because of where it is in America, because there is lots of wooded areas. New Hampshire's a very forested state. So what happens when you get a load of people moving into a town who don't want the government to get any money and don't want any government services, and you also have a burgeoning bear problem where the bears aren't really scared of humans, and the brown bears and black bears, which are the cleverest ones, what happens?
Make a circus.
Circus. Bear fighting.
It's a really interesting book because you can see, as you read through it, where all these different wheels of society would normally sit in place and where everything kind of falls apart from it, because these people are going... For instance, there's one guy who he was the presidential nominee for the Libertarian Party 3 times in a row. Or was it the governorship? Either way, a big political job. And he got about 2% of the vote every time. Like that's how ineffectual Libertarian Party is in America. He got that, but he was always the nominee, and he was the volunteer fireman in Grafton. And at one point, one of the tent cities that erupts from all these libertarians moving to the town and not having enough housing for them, they are having a big bonfire or a barbecue or something like that at the height of summer when all the wood and kindling is dry. So he goes up with his fire truck and puts it out, saying, no, this is a fire risk. We don't want a forest fire.
Yeah.
And they turn on him because he's then statist and he's like enforcing government federal rules. It's fucking hilarious. These people are idiots. It's wonderful. Really, really interesting book. I really recommend you read it. So moving on, but to something also still in America, but funny. Well, funnier, rather. I watched the latest season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Netflix.
I love that show.
Really enjoyable.
I've never
Not
seen
the best
it.
season of it. There's only 13 episodes as well, which is weird. They normally do like 20 episodes or 22 episodes.
Americans usually do it when they're like 30-minute episodes.
That's because it got moved, it got cancelled, and then NBC picked it up, but only as a limited series.
Oh, right. Okay, that would explain it.
I've never seen it. What's it about?
Run out of steam now because that's been going on.
It's got one more series left. That's it.
Starting to wear thin a bit, I think.
Yeah, it's proven to win. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine follows a team of detectives in the 99th precinct in Brooklyn in New York, and stars Andy Samberg, Melissa Fuemo, Stephanie Beatriz, Terry Crews, loads of people.
That's a good cast.
Really, it's a very good cast. I know you're not the biggest fan of American sitcoms, Oodles, but I think you'll really enjoy it because it's got a very silly edge to it.
It's
but
very silly.
they also
I like The Office.
they're also really good at showing police work. I mean, they obviously kind of condense a lot of things down, and it's like it's like kind of TV police work, but everything kind of interlinks. You don't get people solving cases off screen. You don't get someone suddenly being a genius. The main character is obsessed with Die Hard, and there's a couple of cast members. A couple of cast members from Die Hard appear throughout the run of the series, and
but not Bruce Willis, surely not.
No, not Bruce Willis.
He wouldn't do it.
They appear as himself, and he loses his shit. There's one point where they have a trip down to LA, and he drives past the Nakatomi Tower, and he loses his fucking mind. Brilliant show. But yeah, the seventh season's not its best season, but it was pretty good. It had a couple of false starts at the beginning, but then kind of by episode 3, when the beginning of the series storyline wrapped up, it was fucking hilarious. Some of the funniest moments in it.
Do you know what? It's a bit like Ted Lasso, isn't it? It's just got that sort of feel good, silly comedy.
It does, yeah.
Doesn't take itself too seriously.
Okay.
No, yeah, and even when it does take itself seriously, it's done well. Everything's done well.
Who's your favourite character, Gadget? Mine's Captain Holt. By far, Captain Holt.
Yeah.
His comedy is so perfect. It's so dry and serious, but it lands every single time.
Yeah, it's a toss-up between Holt Cheddar, because whenever Cheddar arrives into it, he's fucking brilliant. Captain Holt's corgi. Or Charles. I love Charles. It's just he's got the most insane stalkerish energy. Actually, no, I'll tell you what, it's even topped all of that, Adrian Pimento. I fucking love Pimento.
Pimento's great. Yeah, but he's great in everything.
Cannon.
He's that character. He's that character in everything he plays. Though.
Oh yeah, he's one of the Saturday Night Live actors who just does.
I do love him though. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I really recommend watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and all 7 seasons are on Netflix now. You can binge through them in about a week.
I do need something now actually, so that lines up perfectly for next week.
And the last one I've got to talk about is I've been trying not to talk about this one, but I've been binging it so much recently. I didn't want to bring another dad-related Dungeons and Dragons podcast onto the podcast, but start listening to Dungeons and Daddies. It's not Dungeons and Dads, and it's not a porno podcast. They actually say at the beginning of it, not a BDSM podcast.
Ah,
but it's a podcast about 4 middle-aged
absolute daddies.
Yeah, the dads, they were on their way to take their kids to soccer practice, and they got transported through a portal into the Forgotten Realms. The kids are missing, and they have to find their kids.
I hate it when that happens.
It's terrible, isn't it? It's funny as fuck. It's barely a D&D podcast.
All right, it's like, just using their imagination constantly.
Yeah, it's more like kind of a constant improv comedy thing.
Yeah.
Occasionally they're asked to roll dice or get into a fight.
Oh
or
yes,
stuff
there's
like
dice.
Yeah. But it's one of the funniest things I've listened to, because they're not taking it seriously. Whereas, like, I've tried a lot of Dungeons & Dragons podcasts, and up until now, it's only been Dungeon Dads, who I've talked about a couple of times. They've kind of held my attention. But this one it's just pure comedy. It's so funny all the way through, and there are so many like pop culture references and stuff like that. For instance, an episode I was listening to today, they ended up in a place where they had to win a kind of like the thing in Monty Python, the Holy Grail. Answer my questions 3 and that kind of thing. Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, it was one of those. And the guy who was asking the questions, the DM was voicing him. Oodles. You'll love this one, because the man was described as being quite old. He had long white hair, bit of a scraggly white beard.
Like him already.
Yeah. Yellow eyes.
Oh, I know who this guy is.
Yeah, and he was called Geralt of Trivia.
Oh!
And he carried 2 decks of cards with questions on, the steel one and the silver one. And I nearly crashed the car.
Big fan.
I was laughing so hard at that because it come out of nowhere. It's fucking brilliant. So Dungeons and Daddies, I really recommend it. Like I say, it's not the most proper D&D podcast. Like if you enjoy the rules of D&D and kind of the way the game flows, you'll hate this one, because the DM just kind of fucking teleports them all over the shop. There's not very little description of what they're actually doing, but the guys playing the dads are very funny. The characters are very funny. And there's just so many times where I've had to stop what I'm doing, like crease over, bend over.
It can be dangerous, them kind of shows, when you're driving.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have to stop listening to it when I'm driving. I'll just... There's been a couple of times I've been out, like I go for a walk every morning before work, and like I've been out on my morning walk, and I'm audibly laughing in the middle of the street.
Oh wow!
And I'm getting strange looks. It's just like, no, it's funny. I'm pointing at my headphones. It's like, it's a funny thing I'm listening to.
I'm not crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe pointing at my head's not the best idea.
You being Dungeons and Dads and Dungeons and Daddies,
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's more when I tell people about it because they say, "Well, didn't you already tell me about Dungeon Dads?" Like, no, this is a different one.
It's that alliteration, though.
Alexa trying to say the next episode for you.
That alliteration's perfect for it, though, isn't it? It's like DD, it's Dungeon Daddies. There's probably loads of them type. My next idea is Dungeons and Doggies, where I'm just going to let some dogs roll dice and see what happens. But it might not kick off.
I've heard of D&D campaigns the way all the characters play dogs. So
someone bit me to it. Oh.
Yeah. But so those are three things that I think you should all check out.
Dungeons and Dashhounds.
I like it.
I do like that.
I know there's a game called Dungeons and Dominoes. But
yeah, there is. Yeah.
Cool. Now, Stig, you've been up to, pal.
This week I watched the Big Lizard versus the Big Ape.
Oh yes, I've heard about this.
Yeah. Is there a political debate this week?
I don't have much to say about Godzilla vs. Kong. I've already said enough. It gave me a headache. That's about it.
And it's not as good as Shin Godzilla, because nothing is.
It's just not very good. It's a bit boring.
All the American Godzillas are a bit boring.
All the human stuff is just pointless. Like, literally, Millie Bobby Brown's plot.
Which one's that? Who's that?
Just a girl from
Stranger Things.
Which one?
The
11.
Yeah.
So, if you took her plot out of the film, doesn't change the film one bit.
Like Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Just a complete, like...
It's just there, isn't it?
If she wasn't in the film...
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. Yeah, and I also watched... so that wasn't very good. I'm sorry, these aren't recommendations. It's just what I've been up to. I watched a film called Antebellum. I was very disappointed in that as well. That was described as a bit of a horror thriller. Okay. Not so much of the horror in there. I'm not really sure what the film's trying to do.
Was it thrilling?
It does have some thriller to it, but the horror element's not really there. There's a bit of a mystery going on. It's kind of like I said, if you took M. Night Shyamalan and Jordan Peele, blended it together, but got the shit parts of their ideas.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, doesn't really know what it wants to do, and the tone is all over the place. Like, it's, it was a massive disappointment, to be honest. But the main thing I've done this week, because it's a Wrestlemania week, I have been watching wrestling pretty much all week.
Was it like a 2-nighter?
Oh, it's an 8-nighter.
What is the point in that? Do you have to pay for every night as well?
So
ridiculous.
You had Monday Night Raw, which is obviously every Monday anyway. Yeah. You had the Hall of Fame on Tuesday, which I don't really get why they bothered doing a Hall of Fame. Last year it was cancelled for obvious reasons.
Who got in it this year?
So I'll go over that in a sec. But
sorry.
For some reason, rather than just doing last year's this year, they did another load of people this year.
I forgot of us.
No, they had them as well.
Oh,
so you ended up having like 2 years of Hall of Fame, but because there was no fans in with the Hall of Fame this year, they just did speeches, and then it just made no sense because everyone was only given like 3 minutes each.
Yeah.
How can you condense a full career into 3 minutes? Especially some of them who
have done it for 30 years, aren't there? Some of them.
Yeah, some of them are like these. Some of the guys were like massive parts of the industry, like Eric Bischoff. Like, he was a huge part in like the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars and things like that. How a guy like that needs half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
The guy needs a big speech. He needs to tell his story and tell everything, and that's usually what they do. But because like, right, we're inducting last year's and this year's, you've got 3 minutes. There you go. You've got no fans. So what they did was put fan crowd noise over the top. They put like canned laughter in for jokes. They put
that's weird.
cheers in, and like things like a lot of the time that happens with these Hall of Fames is that someone will start a chant of like one more match, like to people who have technically retired. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But then they start putting like that can over some people. You're just like, no one wants to see them in another match. Like, their time is gone. They weren't that good then. No one wants to see them now. Like, just they've been and gone now. It's fine. So yeah, they did that, and then Wednesday and Thursday night they did NXT Takeover Night 1 and 2. NXT is a part of usually what they do at WrestleMania is Hall of Fame and NXT Takeover, WrestleMania, and then Raw. That's when I went to WrestleMania, that's what you got. You got those 4 nights. But now SmackDown's on Fridays, so they've had to put that in the middle of it. And they've now split WrestleMania into 2 nights. which is better in my opinion because those 7 to 8 hour WrestleManias are too long. So I'll split it into 2, 3 to 4 hour shows. Much better. But yeah, NXT is like their developmental brand, but they always put on like big pay-per-view shows around the big WWE.
For like the
pay-per-views as
up-and-comers?
well. Yeah, basically. Or people who have been like in the industry for years, but on the indies. It's a way to get them seen and known within the mainstream.
Cool.
And then they'll bring them up into what they call the main roster, which is the Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
So you had them; they were really good. They usually are really good, to be honest. The takeovers because they're not produced by Vince McMahon. Triple H does Triple H is the producer, and he has a very different style of how he presents the show and how he wants to present the wrestling. You get a lot more free-flowing wrestling, a bit more adventurous style wrestling. It's a lot more fun. And then last night was the first night WrestleMania, and that was really, really good. And it was really great to see fans back in there. And
are they allowing fans into it now, are they?
yes, it's in Florida,
so... okay.
Yeah, that says it all. But yeah, just they obviously had all this set from last year because the theme for this year is the same as last year.
Well,
so last year it was meant to be in Raymond James Stadium, which is the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know my American football. Yeah, and so it was all pirate themed.
Yeah.
So last year they carried on. They did the pirate theme, but obviously they did it in a closed set. So this year they've still got all that. They've obviously had all this left over from last year. So it's like, well, we've paid for this.
We've paid for it. Yeah.
We've paid millions of dollars for all this. Yeah, let's use it. And the setup for WrestleMania in these stadiums is unreal. Yeah. They've just got this massive pirate ship. It's fucking huge, like even bigger than the one that's actually already in the stadium.
Yeah, they've got one that's like on where the crowd is, haven't they, as well?
Yeah, and like all the huge screens everywhere, and like they've got this big cover that goes over the top of the ring, and like entrances are ridiculous. Like one of the guys came out, and when he raised his arms in the air, the cannons shot out.
Oh, God.
Not like proper cannons,
humans.
Pyro from the ship shot out like so it looked like cannons firing out, and they do all this like elaborate stuff. But
some of that Mick Foley would do, would get inside a cannon, wouldn't he, and let him be shot out. He wouldn't care.
I reckon all 4 of us should wrestle.
I don't know.
Make for an interesting match.
Not today.
Tag team, yeah.
I think you'd win. I think that's the only reason you're saying that.
Yeah, of course he is.
Oh, come on, I've got the weight advantage on all of you.
No, yeah.
I think sit on your chest.
Stig be flying around like...
So is it still going tonight then, Stig? Is it?
Yeah, so the second night is tonight.
What time?
I think it's like midnight UK time, or
at least
1
you're not
o'clock
going
in
to
the
miss
morning.
it
I don't stay up. I used to,
right.
but like...
You know he is.
He used to be, he became an adult.
No, I watched it this morning when I got up. It's
all right, that's fair.
But it was just... this last night was just so significant because... Not just because, obviously, it's the first time they've had fans back in 13 months, but the main event was 2 women of colour.
Oh, wow.
And that was just so amazing to see. Like, they were really trying hard not to cry before the bell even rang at the start.
That's a big moment, that, man.
Because it just meant so much to them. I mean, this is only the second time that women have main evented WrestleMania. Yeah, and it's the first time that the 2 competitors have been a person of colour. Like
brilliant.
It's never happened before.
That bloody time.
Yeah, and it was just and it was a great match as well. That obviously always helps, but like you could just, and this is why I like these splitting of these nights, because if these 2 nights were all in together, we wouldn't have got that.
It'd have been overshadowed, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they would have been they might have been like 3rd from the top or something. But the main event, the storyline that's been focused on the most, that's happening tonight at the main event. So
I hope the crowd supported them as well.
They will have done.
Oh yeah, the crowd absolutely, they're amazing. They loved it.
That's good.
Yeah, the woman who won, Bianca Belair, she's got this really long hair. It comes down to like the back of her knees.
Wow.
And she uses that as like
Sindel from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, she uses it as part of her offense. Like she whips people with it.
Oh, that's cheating.
And it's part of her body, though, isn't it? It's not.
I suppose, yeah.
And I swear that I'll go post you guys the link of it later. But she, in the finish of it, she whips Sasha Banks, and it sounds like a gunshot.
Wow.
And it's like, was that like a fake noise or something? It's like, nah, like that was a full on whip. And she's just got this huge, massive, like mark down her body where she's been whipped. It looked looked and sounded incredible. Wow. Yeah, it was just such a huge moment for wrestling in general and culturally, and it was just an amazing match to see and their reaction to it and everything. So I will be watching the second part tomorrow.
You'll have to let us know next episode how it went.
I will, yeah.
Excellent. Brilliant. Thank you for that then, mate. Well, I've been doing... Mine is a recommendation, a deep recommendation. I watched a film this week called Palm Springs. You might have seen it.
Good.
You might have seen it. Oh, here we go. He's seen it. Directed by Max Barbacow, starring Andy Samberg, Kristen Milioti.
Oh, Andy Samberg's coming up twice.
Yeah, then. And J.K. Simmons.
Show.
You always love a bit of Just Kidding Simmons. Love the man.
Yeah.
So the synopsis, while stuck at a wedding in Palm Springs, Niles, played by Andy Samberg, meets Sarah, played by Kristen Milioti, the maid of honour and family black sheep, as it's been known. After he rescues her from a disastrous toast, Sarah becomes drawn to Niles and his offbeat humour and negativity, but when their impromptu sexy time is thwarted by a surreal interruption, by the way, he's shot in the back with an arrow, the movie takes the craziest twist. So I don't want to go too far into the twist, but it's basically a really good version of Groundhog Day. Like a really good...
Groundhog Day is a good version of Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I was going to say, are you implying that Groundhog Day is not a good
it's
film?
a good take on it. It's a good take on it.
Right.
It's a good time loop film.
Yeah, a very good time loop film. So I obviously, Andy Samberg, it's Saturday Night Live and Lonely Island, is that his band?
That's his band, yeah.
I weren't massive into that, but he's been in a few films now, and he can do drama quite well, that man.
He can, yeah. He's a very good actor. Comedy's kind of his forte, but yeah.
He's funny. He's funny in this. He's really funny in this, and he's just, I don't know. It's just one of those films like you've just, like Stig's seen it. You've just got to kind of envelop yourself in it. You just got to watch it. It's feel good, but it's also nihilistic as fuck. It's like existential crisis, and trust me, it does work. It does work. Like Niles, Andy Samberg, they don't tell you, like, because they understand that the audience knows how a time loop film works now. They don't mention it. They don't mention, like, oh, this is a time loop, we're stuck here. They don't go into the sciencey as much or anything like that. Right. It's just, they just understand that you expect to understand it. And, like, it doesn't tell you how long Andy Samberg's been in this time loop, because from the beginning, he's already in it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they mentioned he mentioned something like, oh, it's round about between 40 years and 40 million years I've been doing this same day. So, yeah, that's a massive, obviously, him making a joke. He forgets how long he's been doing this same day. And he's just, unlike Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, he's accepted this. And this one day is all, like, revolves around this wedding. And he's got to the point now where he knows every single wedding guest at this wedding. He knows them by name. He knows all the secrets because he's had time to speak to them all over these years. Yeah. And then he falls in love with one of the guests, and it just goes on from there. It's just really good. I think it's only just come on Amazon Prime, as in this week, but it came out last year, I believe. I'm not sure. But it's just fucking great. What did you think of it, Stig, when you watched it?
I loved it. That was great. Yeah, it's really, like, it's really funny. But like you said, it's just got this kind of dark side to it as well. Yeah. There's some really beautiful moments in there as well. Kurt had mentioned one of that in our Discord, if you look at the spoiler tag on that, but it's I really love the way that J.K. Simmons' character's brought into it as well.
He's brilliant.
It comes out of nowhere, but it's really funny.
I didn't know the film had this time loop to it. I just saw it on Amazon, and it was, you know, when they put it on the splash page on Amazon Prime. Yeah. This is the one to watch. And I popped it on. I thought, oh, 5 stars. You don't often see 5 stars. I went, put it on. You watch first 50. You're already in love with Andy Samberg's character because he's just a fucking idiot. He's daft. He's drinking throughout the whole film, isn't he? He's just boozing it up because he knows he's not going to have an hangover. He's not going to have an hangover. He's just absolutely getting smashed every day. He's loving it. And then that twist happens, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, I don't want to say too much more, but
yeah, I'm going to watch this.
Definitely watch Palm Springs. Watch it as soon as you can, because I reckon, because it's now on Amazon Prime, there's going to be Twitter spoilers all over the shop coming out. You know what I mean? When people are starting to watch it, but it's just really good. So yeah. So now let's move on to the topic at hand. Biggie, What are we talking about?
Respect our authority! I can't do it as well as anybody else. So this week we're delving into the weird and wonderful world of animated TV shows, but only those designed purely for an adult audience. I don't know if we have any adults listeners, but no, not that kind of animation.
This is not the hentai special.
No.
Not yet.
That'll be when we launch our Patreon.
Yeah. Love it. Excellent. So what we're going to do, as per our remit, we're going to go around and we're going to talk about, they're not necessarily personal favourites, but the ones that we just wanted to discuss. So we're going to start with Biggie, actually. Just your adult cartoon.
So yeah,
Overfiend.
I'm slightly different to I think the other guys here. I don't watch it as much these days, but I was a big fan of Family Guy when that came out. I missed actually a lot of The Simpsons because I saw it when it first came out, but then I went abroad working away, so Family Guy I seemed to catch at the right time, and I just loved Family Guy.
I like early Family Guy. I like...
Yes. You won't like Family Guy now, Biggie.
Yeah, it's a bit different now,
I've not watched it in years.
It's different because I think Seth MacFarlane only turns up to do the voices rather than writes the episodes anymore. So.
He doesn't write it anymore.
And you can tell.
He stopped writing for American Dad after a certain point as well.
Like that's like The Simpsons, isn't it? The first 10 or so series are really great, and then like I've just fallen off it completely since.
But I think the difference between Family Guy and Simpsons, I think, is obviously the subject material, because
it's not for kids, is it? Family Guy.
Yeah, you can probably sit there and have your kids watch Simpsons, and you can laugh at the adult stuff.
I think the most Simpsons gets to is 12, and I think that's the movie, isn't it? I think that's 12.
Yeah. But some of the subject matter covered by Family Guy, I mean, they're almost no holds barred, basically. But for those that are uninitiated, it does centre on a dysfunctional family consisting of the parents, Peter and Lois, their children, Meg, Chris and Stewie, and the anthropomorphic pet dog, Brian.
Yeah.
The show is set in a fictional city of Quahog.
No, Quahog's real.
Quahog.
Rhode Island.
I'm sure it's a real place. Real? Yeah, I think it's a real place.
Oh, wow. I always thought it was just
I know Rhode Island's real. We all know that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm sure Quahog's real.
Oh, okay. It exhibits much of the surreal and dark humour.
It's a fictional city.
Bastard.
It's named after a kind of clam.
They always have clam images, don't they? Isn't that
the name of their bar, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a quahog is a clam.
That makes sense.
That you catch around Rhode Island, but it's.
Oh, there we go.
I did have to Google that though. I didn't know that off the top of my head.
Continue.
But yeah, it features, one of the big things about the show is that it features a lot of cutaway gags. Where something like Peter will say, "Oh, remember that time?" and then it will just go to whatever happened.
And it'll be ridiculous.
And they're very funny.
One of my favourite ones of that is, it's so simple and so stupid, where he says something about a drive-by. It's like the English, they don't do drive-by shooters, they do like drive-by, like shouting or something. And the drive-by is like, he just leans out the window, he's like, "Hey, Reginald, I disagree!" And then they drive off. And that's
My favourite one's when they're at a Jewish temple and Optimus Prime turns up and he's a Jew. And he's got his kipper on.
I mean, it's so ridiculous, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
But yeah, as you mentioned, it was created by Seth MacFarlane, who voiced Peter, Brian, and Stewie.
I think he voices about 50% of the people on that show.
There is a making of somewhere where they follow making the show, and it's really impressive watching him bounce between the characters, and that is really hard to do, by the way.
Yeah. Brian is just his own voice, isn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much.
That's why Brian's the one that sings most, because Seth MacFarlane loves to sing, and Brian's always singing.
Yeah, the one of the best things I ever read about it. It was like it was a behind the scenes documentary kind of thing, and it was one of the producers talking about Seth MacFarlane's singing ability.
Yeah,
and he was saying like he went to watch in the recording studio one day when he was doing. I think it was one of the you get those episodes every couple of seasons where it's like Brian and Stewie are on a journey.
Yeah, the road trip, road to Rhode Island and stuff.
Yeah, it's done like kind of those 60s films, 40s, 50s, and 60s films. I think it might have been the first one, maybe in Road to Rhode Island, where he sits in it, and during the song, the big musical number at the end, he just tracks it in one go. Yeah. Just bouncing between his own voice and Stewie's voice. Yeah. and then does a second go to do the harmonies between each other.
Oh, he's a good singer.
And it's like pitch perfect each time he does it in 2 takes, and the producer's stuck there with his gob hanging out. Yeah. It's just like, what did I just watch?
I bet he's like, told you I could sing, lads.
Listen to our Dungeons and Dragons episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interestingly, the show's been cancelled quite a few times, but is now currently scheduled for a 21st season.
Yeah,
it's 21 seasons.
Yeah, he's catching up to The Simpsons, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Simpsons is still going, but
to find out.
Yeah,
but it features a lot of beloved characters like Quagmire, Joe, Cleveland, Herbert, and Tom Tucker and Diane Simmons, which are the two newsreaders.
I love the newsreader.
If you recognise the names, they're voiced by Alex Borstein, Seth Green, Mila Kunis, amongst many others. The show is never afraid to approach any subjects, actors, media. Global events have all been picked on. Personally, for me, the ongoing fight with the chicken guy.
Didn't that have a resolution where the chicken went home to his family and stuff, and he's got a human wife and stuff?
No, because it doesn't actually resolve. Because I think it's later in the sequence, Peter jumps through the window and starts attacking him in his home.
But yeah, that's a completely random fight. Big fan of Stewie's ambiguous sexuality in the show.
And the fact that, do we know if people can understand him or not?
Yeah.
He even play on that. They're like, can you even understand me? But the dog always can.
He moved on, but he originally was trying to kill Lois all the time.
Oh, that stopped ages ago, didn't it?
But that was quite funny. Brian being an alcoholic dog.
Loves a martini, doesn't he?
The irrelevance of Meg.
Which is awful.
Absolutely. It's so bad, but it's really funny.
That we constantly quote that as well, me and my wife. No, the bit where he's like, proud of you, and that wipes the bogey on it. He does it so he can wipe a bogey on her head. So he pats her on the head, he's like, proud of you, so he can wipe a bogey on her head. But it's like, it's just one of those daft quotes where me and Kate are just like, proud of you.
It's one of the good episodes is when Meg has a makeover, and it's the one that they were singing Journey on, and it made Journey massive again. Don't Stop Believing. It just skyrocketed in charts, and Meg has that makeover, and then they all start liking her. Then don't they? Because she's good looking.
Yeah. Some of the comments on Meg are just ridiculous. Oh, yeah. But the one thing I really love, which I'm absolutely gutted they never follow up. If you haven't seen them, are the Star Wars parody movies. Oh,
the Blue Harvest and stuff.
They are really good, I cannot believe they've not done the prequels.
I love it. On the first one, Han Solo's like, I'm taking this couch, and they're getting couch out of trash compact. He's trying to get couch onto Millennium Falcon. It's about 5 minutes, and he's pushing it on. So good.
It's just like, just go. It's just hanging off the side, isn't he?
But it's relatable because we've all been there, lifting a sofa upstairs and stuff. It's ridiculous.
And when Chris as Luke shoots a TIE fighter and he goes, "Don't get penisy, kid."
Yeah. Instead of cocky, yeah.
Yeah, it's just really good. But yeah, massive fan of that.
Yeah. Family Guy frustrates me in so many ways because there is a lot of good stuff in it.
It's a fall from grace, though, isn't it? That's the problem.
It's not even the fall from grace. I think it's just the structure of the show. It's like the idea of the cutaway gags. I mean, some of them are hysterical. Some of them have me in kinks. But there's just some of them you just think, this is really lazy because they are each of the cutaways are so far removed from whatever the subject of the program is.
Sometimes, Peter Griffin dies in the cutaways, and it's a memory. Yeah. You know what I mean? It makes no sense.
Yeah, and as the show goes on, I think it also got less quotable.
Yeah,
I agree. Totally agree.
All the Family Guy quotes or voices that I ape and I do are all from the first season or just general
I think
sense
season
that they make,
3
Peter's
its
laugh.
peak. I think season 3 is its peak when the animation style changed.
Yeah, I like season 4, but oh god, it's a frustrating show because it's why I like American Dad is kind of what I think it should have been.
It's a bit more consistent, isn't it, American Dad? I think it is.
Although not anymore. But
I haven't seen it in
7
years.
seasons or so of American Dad are really, really good.
Yeah, I used to watch both of them used to be on BBC 3.
Yeah.
Between 10 and 12, which randomly you'd be like, just lying in bed, just gonna Family Guy or American Dad's on. And used to just watch it all the time. But yeah, I can't remember about what seasons I got to before I just stopped caring.
Yeah,
but, it was brilliant.
It's when they started doing full episodes on Herbert and stuff. I know people like him when he just turns up for a split second, but I don't want a full episode of Herbert. It don't work.
There's a really good episode which is possibly my favourite Family Guy episode, and it's not funny at all.
Oh.
It's it might have been like 15th season or something like that, where Brian and Stewie get locked in a vault.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the two of them together.
Yeah.
There's no cutaway gags, and it's actually really dramatic, and it's a really insightful story.
It's similar to that episode of Community where they're just stuck in that one room, isn't it? It's a lot of sitcoms do that.
Yeah, and it's absolutely brilliant, and it's like proves that whoever they had on the writing staff at the time could really write.
Yeah,
and then they send them back to doing like shitty cutaway gags. I'm like, but look what you did! Look at this, it's brilliant.
I think for me, Family Guy jumped the shark when Brian quote unquote died.
Oh yeah.
When they tried to kill Brian,
they kill him out, and then everyone kicked off.
They actually were going to keep him dead.
Yeah. Everyone
to
kicked
mix
off.
The show. Everyone kicked off, and then they had New Brian.
Vinny.
Like, they call him New Brian.
It was Vinny, wasn't it? He was like, "Hey, it's me, it's Vinny."
No, there was him. No, he was a different one, but they had another one.
Oh, did they?
They had another one. They called him
New Brian.
So you didn't think the show jumped the shark when Brian starts dating human women? And they don't seem to notice that he's a dog.
That's funny. That's funny. When he was with that same woman for a long time, wasn't it? And she's like, Brian, if you leave him, don't forget to put your flea collar on and stuff like that. She knew you were a dog.
Yeah. It's really weird.
By the way, it's on Disney Plus via Star. You can watch all of that if you want.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about Brian. Just made me laugh. You know, when he goes back, he tries to find his birth mother.
Yeah.
And he goes to the farm. He's just like, "Hi, it's Brian." He's just like, the farmer's like, "Don't remember Brian." He's just like, "Which one are you?" He's like, "I was the one that could talk."
Oh yes, that's you. Yeah, I do. There are some proper strong moments in Family Guy, but as you said, I can't imagine turning it on now unless I was turning the older episodes. I couldn't imagine watching a new one.
That's a very good point. The other thing I mentioned about Family Guy is it's really good in small doses. I would not binge watch it at all because you would get very bored of the concept.
I still think American Dad is the stronger of the two. And Cleveland Show were just not very good at all.
Oh, that was shite. Good idea, but shite in practice. Also, really weird that Cleveland's voiced by a white guy.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah. But a lot of these cartoons have got that kind of issue.
Yeah.
I think they've all changed that now, haven't they? I think
they've
resolved
I think they should. So, we'll move on. We'll come back. You've got more, haven't you, Biggie? But we'll come back. Yeah. We'll go to Gadget. What's your first pick?
So my first pick, in fact, I'm gonna bring this one forward because my other picks are related to each other. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about Metalocalypse.
Death Clock.
Yeah, Metalocalypse was a cartoon, came out in 2006 on Adult Swim. The channel that did it absolutely dirty and cancelled it without a decent resolution. We are mad still about it. But it follows the trials and tribulations of the biggest metal band to exist ever. A band that makes more money than Luxembourg.
Yep.
In fact, the Death Clock, the band themselves, are one of the top 30 economies in the world.
Yeah.
The band, when their albums are delayed, their fans commit ritualistic suicide in protest at the albums being delayed. When you see them live, you have to sign a pain waiver to, indemnify the band from any maiming or death that might occur to you while you're at their live show.
The honour and privilege of being killed at a Death Clock gig.
In the opening episode, we are greeted to the fact that Death Clock haven't gigged for a while, and thousands upon thousands of fans are travelling to the Arctic Circle in the most northern of Sweden.
It's a pilgrimage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pilgrimage to see the band perform a 30-second jingle for a coffee company.
Yeah.
And it's big news. And there's a shady government organisation that's interested in them because apparently there's a prophecy around this particular group of individuals. It's fucking surreal and brilliant. It's like the best of that weird mid-2000s Adult Swim effect.
Such great ones, didn't they, on Adult Swim, yeah.
I'm not very familiar with Adult Swim.
You've not heard of Dr. Roxo? He does cocaine. Nope. Did you know this? I do cocaine. Love it.
Yeah. Any episode with Dr. Roxo in is fucking brilliant. Dr. Roxo is the rock and roll clown that they get for one of the guitarist's birthday.
Obviously,
and he's he's wearing something Justin Hawkins from The Darkness would think is a bit too revealing. He's got his face and clown makeup.
You can see his nipples.
Huge red hair. He's I did not do cocaine at the top of his voice when he runs around. It's so funny. But so the band themselves, they're a 5-piece band featuring the lead singer Nathan Explosion, who I believe is modelled after someone from Cannibal Corpse.
Yes.
Squizgar Squigelf, who is the lead guitarist. Toki Wartooth, who is the other guitarist. Yeah. William Murderface, the bass player. And Pickles, the drummer.
I love Pickles.
Yeah. Like I said, the music they play, it's possibly as generic a kind of heavy metal you can get. It's kind of like the music that Brendan Small, who created it, wrote for it, is very much inspired by stuff like In Flames, a lot of that kind of Swedish technical metal kind of sound, that kind of Norwegian sound.
Yeah. Black metal.
Yeah, kind of. It's the music is incredible.
He plays it all, doesn't he?
Yeah, he plays well. One of the best things about the animation as well is they animate their fingers moving in the right places on the instruments. I appreciate that as a guitarist, being able to watch how the caricature in my cartoon plays his guitar. But the music is really, really good. Such songs as Mermaider.
Mermaid is amazing.
About mermaid murder. Go Into the Water. They release an album that's dedicated to fish, or it's for fish rather, because to make the heaviest, most brutal, most awesome album in the world, they had to go low.
Yeah, and pressure.
Yeah, we have to go to the bleakest, darkest, most metal place on Earth, the Mariana Trench, and they put a recording studio into a submarine and go deep underwater. Death and destruction follows them everywhere. Anytime it's anybody's birthday, there is an episode where it's Murderface's birthday, and the band perform a song for him called Birthday Death Day, and I will send that video to everybody I know whenever it's their birthday.
So good.
The band themselves are idiots. They are the most coddled, unrealistic weirdos that have ever existed in the world. The very first episode, they end up accidentally killing their chef, and rather than hiring a new one, they decide that they have to go food shopping for themselves. And they go to Fintroll's convenience store to try and find some food. And it results in Squizgar hitting on a grandmother.
Yep.
Pickles deciding that he's in charge of getting ingredients for soup, so he has a trolley full of alcohol. Nathan is destroying the shop as he goes around. It's so fucking funny and so surreal, and it's if you like metal music, you will adore it. Oh, and Mark Hamill does one of the voices in it.
Yes,
not one of the main characters, he does one of the side characters, but yeah, it's brilliant.
It's like a balance fight. It's like it's made for people that love metal, but it's also taking the piss out of people that love metal. Or play metal. It's ridiculous. It's brilliant.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely taking the piss out of metal bands. And the thing is, well, they also got really big people into it. Like in the opening episode, you get James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett. They do guest voices in it. Yeah. Most of Cannibal Corpse, or some variations of they've done voices in it. Dave Mustaine's done a voice in it. The band were actually sponsored by Gibson. Yeah. You could buy a Death Clock Explorer and Flying V. They're sponsored by EMG pickups and crank amps and stuff. Like, there were real brands behind this. It's
good music, brilliant. Though. That's the thing.
Yeah. And to prove that, I'll put a clip in. So, yeah, they're fucking brilliant. Go watch Metalocalypse. Like I say, Adult Swim did them dirty. They cancelled it before they could finish the story. But everything that you get going up to that, including the Death Harmonic, which is their hour-long rock opera, it's fucking incredible. Everything about it's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the DVD collection really cheap. I know it's DVD and not Blu-ray, but I saw that really cheap for the whole lot for like £9. I know there's a Blu-ray, but it's like 50 quid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get hold of that if you can. Well worth it. So, we'll move on to you, Stig. What's your first pick, pal?
Yeah, so I was originally going to do something a bit different. Like I said, originally I'd picked the likes of Castlevania, which is excellent, by the way.
It is.
Even if you've not played the games, I've not played the games, but I've really enjoyed the series. It's very dark, bleak, and violent and bloody. But then I was just like, I'm going to go with the one which I think has so far stood the test of time better than the likes of Simpsons and The Family Guy and stuff.
What?
So I'm going to go with South Park.
Because
in my opinion, South Park still put out absolutely belter episodes and are still funny to this day. I'm not sure I really need to go into what South Park is, but I will anyway. It was created by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It came out in 1997, so we're now 24 years into its run. And it's a series revolving around four boys: Stan Marsh, Kyle Broflovsky, Eric Cartman, and Kenny McCormick. And when this first came out, it just went crazy, didn't it? Everybody loved South Park. It wasn't meant for kids,
but kids watched it.
Kids loved it because I was 11 in 1997, and I knew South Park, and I loved it, and I watched it.
I got first season on VHS.
I think it was used to be on Channel 4, so it was like Friday night Channel 4 kind of job. You could just stay up and watch it because you didn't have school the next day, and it led to schools banning South Park.
We weren't allowed to wear the South Park hoodie.
Yeah, and not allowed to take South Park merchandise or anything in because it was just. They always said, "Well, this is meant for adults. If you let your kids watch it, it's not our fault," which is fair dues.
Yeah,
but it just from the get-go, the first episode is about aliens abducting.
It's about anal probes.
Cows, and I think Cartman gets taken by the aliens and gets an anal probe, and that's kind of like. That sets the tone of where this show goes. I think it's got better.
It's evolved since then, hasn't it?
It has evolved so much that it's got a lot better, in my opinion.
They don't even swear as much anymore, either.
Although they do hold the record for most swear words in a film.
Yeah, I know
they do. Yeah.
And musical.
So I think they're on 309 episodes now. And the first few series are just kind of like episode of the week things out there. They're kind of like little skits, stupid things going on here and there. They introduce other characters like Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. You have other side characters in the thing like Chef and
Mr. Garrity.
Mr. Garrity, and what's his name?
Mr. Garrity, Mr. Garrison.
Mr. Garrison.
Oh yeah, Garrison. Yeah, sorry.
And
Randy, Stan's dad. Love Randy.
Who are you trying to think of?
The big guy, the
Big Al.
No. Big Al was
Mr. Mackey.
Mr. Mackey, sorry.
Drugs are bad.
Yeah, his name just escaped me there, but Mr. Mackey. I fucking love Mr. Mackey. He's just so stupid.
He's like the school. Is he the school counsellor?
He's a school counsellor, and he's just like, drugs are bad, okay? Shouldn't do drugs, okay? But like, I love the fact that South Park had all these like side characters who kind of just popped in every now and again, but now they've evolved them all so much that they all have their own little.
It's not just about the kids, is it?
It's characters. It's about the whole town now.
Like Randy and Butters and a few other people are like main characters now. It's strange how it's evolved.
Yeah, I like how the. Sorry, Gadget.
No, sorry. I was going to say it's how. It's not just the characters themselves, but it's how they interact with the rest of the story. There are some ones, especially when you get an episode that will be about, like, say for instance, an episode that's about Randy.
Yeah, which is like many now.
which is many now, but the kids will barely be involved with it, and they'll just tend to walk in at the end and go, "Oh Jesus Christ, Dad!" Stuff like that. It's like,
I mean, they don't even kill Kenny anymore. That's not a thing.
Yeah, they stopped doing that a long time. I think about season 8. They just first off, they did what they tried to do with Brian was they tried to kill him off for good.
For good, yeah.
And then they had like these kind of auditions episodes where they just kept putting a new fourth character in.
Yeah, it was Butters for a while, weren't it?
It was Butters, and then they had Tweak.
Yeah,
and
Tweak.
Then,
I do like Tweak.
Token, and they had all these different ones just going in. But what I love about South Park as well is they are fearless.
Oh yeah,
they will go after any group, any religion, any like politician.
Yeah,
if you're left leaning, if you're right leaning, if you're central, it does not matter. You will get both barrels, and if you come back at them and try to complain and try to get them cancelled, they'll just go at you again because they just do not give a shit.
Don't they write episodes in like a week?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous that turnover. That is
they've got I'm fairly sure on this one, but I might be wrong. But they have their own editing software for the program with basically all the assets put together,
just for them.
So it's like with the early series, they were doing it literally with cardboard, and it was like kind of stop motion animation.
It looks a lot better now, though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
well, yeah. They're just doing the same thing, but with computers now.
Yeah.
But because of the way the characters look, like you don't have to animate your fingers moving or hands moving. Like the animation process is.
Well, they've all got gloves on, haven't they? So you don't have to see fingers.
Exactly. It's like deliberately being designed that way.
Yeah.
And it works, so it means they can put an episode out in a week if they need to. In
fact, the video games took fucking longer to come out than the TV show.
Yeah.
But or they'll do that thing where they do 2 episodes as well. Like so, when Barack Obama got elected in America, they had an episode ready
just
to air.
Just in case someone won. Yeah.
They had one for.
Did it with Donald
Obama
Trump as well, didn't they?
No, with Donald Trump. They had a whole plot line going.
Oh, did they?
They basically with Donald Trump they turned Mr. Garrison into Trump.
Oh, right.
So Trump isn't a character in it. Mr. Garrison became like a Donald Trump character, and he became president. But with the Barack Obama one, it's really like Gadget said, they had one for if McCain won and one if Obama won. And when you watch
that's why they could put that one out on the night.
Yeah. And then the next time in 2012, they just did one episode for Obama, and so said, and they were just like, "What happens if it the other way? If it went the other way?" And he went, "Well, it wasn't gonna, was it?"
Yeah.
So they knew. They were just like,
"Let's be
we
real."
only had to do one this time, yeah. So, but there's a documentary called 6 Days to Air came out in 2011, and it follows them doing an episode in a week. And the reason they started doing this was because they used to do the 10 episodes, give it to Comedy Central, right? Series is done, put it out. But then they found that the stuff that they were ripping on and riffing on and everything,
late, isn't it?
And parodying was too late,
and
something new had come up, and that was out the zeitgeist anymore. And it was just like, we're not getting the hits here, because if we tried to, he obviously did all the silly episodes in there still, like Fun Times with Weapons and things like that. Scott Tenorman Must Die and all that kind of really like out there kind of episodes. But then they wanted to make sure that what they were putting out was relevant.
Yeah.
So if something happens in the news, you will guarantee that if South Park is currently on TV at the time, the next episode will be about what's happened.
Yeah. Didn't they drop that Game of Thrones Black Friday one on Black Friday in America?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy, that.
Yeah.
Which was also part of the marketing for Stick of Truth.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They're all trying to get Stick of Truth, weren't they, in Game of Thrones? It was so weird.
But it's just
clever.
Yeah, it's so clever. They're so funny and so great at it. But especially if you watch that documentary, you just see how quick they come up with these ideas. Right, what can we do? This bang, 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 bang. Ideas just floating around, and it's like, right, yep, let's go. And then they just kind of wing it, like a little bit as they go along. But it takes it out of them so much. It's like they started doing split seasons because of it, so they'll do 6 weeks.
You've got to forgive them for it, haven't you?
And then they'll do 6 weeks, but...
And that film as well, that is a masterpiece.
Yeah, but just going back to that...
one of the best musicals ever made.
When that film came out, that was huge as well. And I don't think a lot of parents realised, just like you said about the swearing, just what was going to happen in that film.
Even though it were called Bigger, Longer and Uncut.
Yeah. And there's a lot of swearing in that film. And the music's brilliant, but just the kind of shit that we're pulling off in that, like Saddam Hussein is stuff like that. It's like
and his voice as well.
Yeah. It's like, hey guy,
why do you always make love to me from behind? Love that.
It's something that no one else would dare do apart from them.
Well, they had that whole thing where they wanted to. There was I think it was after the Charlie Hebdo attack.
Yeah.
They wanted to be they basically wanted to have an image of the Prophet Muhammad in their show, because they were ripping it out of Family Guy at the same time.
Yeah.
And the whole episode is built up around that, like other like TV shows in that universe had tried to do it, and like the networks had shut them down. Like Terrence and Phillip had tried to do it and stuff like that. And then so the whole that was the satire of it, and Comedy Central refused to air it, and they were like, "This is literally the point of the episode. How can we like make fun of Christianity if we can't make fun of Islam and stuff like that?" And it was when they get into like very political or very kind of current events points, they're so incisive to it, and they are merciless with who they will take on.
They seem to be very, very, very clever men. You know what I mean? Like very,
they are
super smart.
But there's the two episodes that always stand out to me are the Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet.
Oh wow,
which is the huge swipe at Scientology.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and then the one about the Mormons. Where you just get the cutaways to like the Joseph Smith, I think it is, story, and at the bottom it says this is what they actually believe
with the aliens, the tablets. You're not allowed to read this tablet.
One of the best things about that is when they did Scientology. And
they showed the zine stuff.
They did the same thing, and they put, this is what Scientologists actually believe. And I'm like, this is obviously a piss take. Because I thought it was just taking the piss, riffing on the Mormon episode.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and I was like, fuck me, they actually believe this? And the funniest thing to come out of that, after years of them ripping everyone, Isaac Hayes turned around and was like, I'm a Scientologist.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Like, this was too far, I quit. So what they did was... They made Chef into a pedo.
Yeah.
It's like, fine, if that's what you're going to do to us, this is what we'll do to Chef.
They use his old voice clips from other seasons as well, just to make like a sentence.
It's so funny. It's like,
terrible.
Hello, children.
Yeah.
How are you today? And they just clip it all together.
Oh,
to like,
so bad.
It's brilliant.
But then Chef gets killed off in a very bloody, brutal scene. And then they bring him back like fucking Darth Vader at the end. With the episode 3 reveal. Fucking Darth Chef look.
Yeah. Have any of you seen Imagination Land? I'll just talk about that before I finish.
No. I saw it when it first came out, but I don't remember much
So
about
Imagination Land is a 3-part episode, which was originally going to be the second film.
Oh yes, I have seen that episode.
And it is incredible because it just has all, like, everything that's ever been imagined by something is kind of like, this guy comes to the kids and he's like on this hot air balloon. He's just like, hello children, I'm from Imagination Land, come and join me, we need your help, blah blah. The kids kind of look at him and they're like, are you a rapist? He's like, and his reaction is just like, what? No, why would you say that? No, they're just like, well, you look like one. It's just like, oh my god, but they go off to Imagination Land, and the US government are like, the whole idea is that like the bad guys that are imagined are breaking through the wall, and if they break through the wall and get out into the real world, they'll cause havoc.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So the US government said, like, it's like, there's only one way we can stop this. It's like, and they sent Kurt Russell through a Stargate into Imagination Land. and they're going, oh, what's... He goes, what can you see? And he's like, oh, I can see this. And he's like, I can see, oh, there's little critters. Oh, they appear to be woodland critters. And Stan and Carl at the end going, what? No. Like, he's like, oh, they've got little Christmas hats on. He's like, get him out of there! Get him out of there! Yeah, because the woodland critters, like,
they're evil.
Rape people.
Like Satanists.
They are very, very evil. Yeah, and they just like, all you can hear is Kurt Russell just going, they're killing me! They're raping... And he's just like screaming from the other end of the Stargate. It's just, it is an incredible thing.
I don't know if he actually voiced himself, but they actually get a lot of actors to do the voices.
Surprisingly few actors into it. Like,
they had
most
like
of
Jake Gyllenhaal on a few of them.
Yeah. I mean, they have had a couple of big guest stars. I remember when they had fucking Radiohead on for stuff. Yeah. They actually put it up at the beginning of the episode, guest starring Radiohead.
Yeah, because here's your favourite band, Radiohead, and they just come on and go, "You're a loser," and then he walks off. That's it.
Little crybaby.
Yeah.
Like most of it is just Trey, isn't it? It's just it's all him.
Yeah.
Doing the voices, apart from female voices.
But you can tell it's him, though. That's the thing. He's got such a
Well, that's the gag, isn't it? It's like, that's why he's got the text at the beginning says all celebrity voices are
Bill Hader does stuff for him now as well.
Yeah. Two people did. Yeah.
Oh, just one more thing, actually. I want to talk about Randy.
He's the best.
He is the greatest character.
Integrity Farms.
Since that episode where he's like watching the kids play baseball, getting drunk, and he's all like, I'm sorry, I thought it was America. And he's always starting fights. Since that episode, he has been absolutely incredible. And any episode that they have, which Randy is the focus on, it's just so fucking
the current
good.
season on Netflix, it's probably not the newest season, but with Tegrity Farms when he's a weed
farmer.
He's
like,
the main character throughout
the
whole season. It's his. They even changed the intro, doesn't it, to come on down to Tegrity Farms. It's really good.
The show's been cancelled in China now because of one of the episodes.
I've just watched that episode
where he goes to China, and they have Winnie the Pooh in there and everything, and China have like just outright banned South Park now. Yeah. Like,
I'm surprised it happened before.
I was going to say, it took a long time for China to decide to ban it.
The thing is, in that, I think it's that episode before, he does a pro-China parade down South Park. He's like, yes, China, I made $300,000.
He's trying to sell his weed in China, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, my all-time favourite Randy moment might have to be the episode where they're cut off from the internet.
Oh,
and they end up in a fucking refugee camp for some reason.
Yeah.
And he finds a computer connected to the internet.
Yeah.
And just they walk in and just the room is covered in horribleness. He's just like, it was a ghost. Ectoplasm.
Is that the startling? The one where he's like, I'm so startled, and there's like these massive guinea pigs running around.
Yeah.
What a good show, man. What a good show.
Yeah.
So, from South Park, we'll go on to my first discussion. And I am going to talk about The Simpsons, guys, because
someone had to.
Yeah, someone had to. And I have to preface this. I loved The Simpsons, past tense.
In the past tense?
Yes, I loved it. So I don't need to explain to you the origins of The Simpsons and its eventual inevitable decline. But it's one of those shows that literally speaks to any age group, but it's aimed for adults, in my opinion. Because unless like Homer and Bart's fighting or falling down, it's a talky, innit? It's quite a talky show. There's a lot of dialogue in Simpsons. There's a lot of like discussion, if you get what I mean. I think I don't know if it's been changed now, but it was a phenomenon to the point where it was aired in every single country at one point.
Yeah.
Like, they all had their own, like, versions of it. Like, they had to change people's names and stuff and certain dialogues in their own language and stuff. But, yeah, it were aired everywhere. It was absolutely ridiculous at one point. And rather than talk about what The Simpsons is, I've just brought up my 3 favourite episodes.
Okay.
So I think you'll have all seen these ones because they're older Simpsons. So, in no particular order, You Only Move Twice is one of my favourite episodes where Homer gets the job at Cypress Creek.
Yes.
With Hank Scorpio. Turns out he's working for the baddies. A lot of Kubrick references in. There's a HAL 9000 and 2001 Space Odyssey references. And it's just a really solid moving away from Springfield episode. You know, it's just The Simpsons and Hank Scorpio, obviously. But that's a really good episode. You've all seen that one, haven't you?
The bit where he's like, where he goes to quit. And he's like, Homer, I respect your decision, but like Homer's just oblivious to the fact that like that him and all his henchmen are fighting like obviously as an agency that's coming to attack.
Yeah, he don't realise he's the baddie.
If you feel like shooting a few people on the way out, then please do.
Yeah. The next episode one I really loved is Cape Fear. With Kelsey Grammer as Sideshow Bob, where it's basically Cape Fear. The film Cape Fear.
No, it is just entirely Cape Fear.
Yeah. A lot of Alfred Hitchcock references as well, and Kelsey Grammer absolutely crushes it as Sideshow Bob.
He always does.
The scene with the rakes, where it goes on for about 5 minutes.
It's never not funny though.
It's so incredible, and the Die Bart Die and stuff like that. That's such a good episode, and this next episode's very difficult
because that's the line. What's it? You've got Die Bart Die written on your chest. No, it's German for thee bar thee. Well, no one who speaks German could be evil.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible stuff. My all-time favourite episode is the episode I can barely pronounce. It's El Viaje Misterioso de Nuestro Homer.
Oh, is that when Homer goes on the chili hallucination?
Homer eats a mysterious pepper in a local chili cook-off before hallucinating and hanging out with the likes of a desert turtle and the coyote voiced by Johnny Cash. And it's just a really good, like, Homer-centric episode, but it's not Homer falling off when he jumps over the canyon and stuff like that. It's just a really good character study and what it's like to trip your ass off. It's really good. I definitely recommend to watch all 3 of them episodes. You all probably have that listening, but
many, many times.
If you haven't, though, just there is some really good websites that tell you which episodes not to watch. Like, you're not going to skip Marge versus the Monorail. It's a cracking episode.
No, it's all-timer.
Yeah.
But you're going to skip everything from season 10 on.
Yeah, you're going to skip a lot of different... Like, everyone says, I love all the Treehouse of Horror episodes. They're not my favourite episodes at all.
Some are good.
Some are good.
Some are shit. But my favourite episode is Itchy and Scratchy Land.
Oh, yes, very good. Which is the Westworld parody, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just like he's just going through the names. He's just like Bert, Bart, like, Bart. Like, who's called Bart? And this guy's just like, excuse me, you're talking to me? He's like, my name's Bart. He's just like, he goes, are you talking to my son? No, my son is also named Bart. And then like later on when they're going through the back, it's just like, we've run out of Bart license plates. I repeat, we've run out of Bart license plates.
Yeah, I'm still yet to find an Oodles one, but we'll get there. So yeah, Simpsons. I just think culturally it had a massive impact, and yeah, like Family Guy has, like a lot of things. Other than South Park, I think it's just gone downhill massively. I don't think I've watched a new season of Simpsons since about 2013, maybe a bit even earlier than that.
When they appeared on Disney Plus, Pip and I decided to give season 31 a try.
Is it terrible?
31 or 30, whatever the latest one's on there.
Jesus.
And we watched a couple episodes and we're just like,
it looks good though, doesn't it? It's all in like 4K and stuff now.
Yeah, it's all in 4K. Like it's shiny, great.
Yeah.
The problem with The Simpsons is, and
I don't like that look.
No, I prefer the 90s Simpsons. Me.
Yeah, there's a great video out there called it's something about the zombification of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And it talks about how The Simpsons kind of after season 10, so after the original group of writers kind of shuffled off onto other shows. The Simpsons got in writers that didn't seem to gel well with the material, and then the season started to become uneven because of something that people who researched the show have coined the term Flanderization.
Yeah.
Because Ned Flanders is the perfect example of it, because Ned Flanders starts off as just this
idly neighbour.
Yeah, this dorky weird neighbour. He's religious. He's a bit boring. That was his character, but they had some fun with that because he was the antithesis of Homer, who was a big, vivacious, loud character.
Everyone didn't like the fact that Flanders had a really good body as well. He were ripped, weren't he, under his jumpsuit?
Stupid, sexy Flanders.
Yeah. Again, that's not revealed until much later, though. But as Flanders' character goes on, they kind of realise that the funny stuff with him was the stuff around Reverend Lovejoy and around all the Christianity stuff. So they build that up to... It gets to a point, like at about season 15 or so, he's a fucking zealot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a film... There's an episode where he gets commissioned to do the Super Bowl halftime show or something like that because he made a fucking gory as fuck religious film. And it's just like... No, everything that you're putting in here turns him into a psychopath. Like, it's not the same character at this point. And every character in The Simpsons does this. It gets to a point where all the jokes from Homer don't work because they're flipped in reverse. In the early seasons, Homer's an idiot.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that he's an idiot. He just is one. Yeah. Whereas in, season 14, 15 onwards, as it's going on, Homer knows he's Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
So like all the jokes are like, like someone says, "Hey, all the big fat dumb guys come over here." He's like, "Whoa, that's me!" And it's just like, no, that's not funny. He shouldn't know that about himself.
Yeah. And he never knew he was in the wrong ever, did he? I mean, bear in mind, this man works at a nuclear power plant. He foresees a lot of like health and safety there. He went to space. He thwarted conspiracies and stuff. And in the film, do you know what I mean? He saved Springfield and stuff.
I was going to just bring that up because it took so long for them to get a movie out.
That movie's all right, but it doesn't hold up when you watch it too many times. It's a bit
too.
And the fact that the fact I don't get why Bart Simpson's got his little willy out as well. That split second. Can you remember
because
that?
They could get away with it
because it's a shocking visual gag that you can get away with.
You're right. The Simpsons took too long. Look at what South Park did.
Yeah.
In the height of their popularity in those first few years, bang, film is out.
Yeah.
In 2 years, I think it took them.
Yeah.
Simpsons needed a film in the mid-90s.
I think so.
They could have done another one in the 90s, but mid-90s is when they needed the film because that was the height of their popularity. And by the time it came out, it's like, yes, we finally got a Simpsons film.
Too late, wasn't it?
It's mediocre as fuck because the writing has just gone downhill. And I've just looked now what you've been talking about when I dropped off to round about a year or two after that film came out. The last thing I can remember is where Bart and Lisa built a box fort.
I've never even seen that one. Never even seen
and they have this massive fight. It's a really good sequence. They have this they steal all these like boxes from UPS or something, and then all the UPS men come to claim it back, and they have this massive like Lord of the Rings-esque battle where it's like Bart and Lisa are on this big castle of like, cardboard boxes they've made, and they're fighting off all these like mailmen trying to like break it down and stuff.
Sounds like that South Park game, doesn't it?
And then a dragon comes out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, like Nelson comes and starts helping them out, and it's like it's a really good fun sequence, and that's the last thing I can.
But there's not enough, is there? Those episodes.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are websites. I might pop them in the show notes. I'll pop them in as Discord. There's a really good. I can't remember its name now. Really good website that says it like reviews the newer episodes and tells you, don't watch that. Watch this one. This is a decent episode. But apparently there hasn't been a good like even as close as 4 out of 5 episodes since like before the movie. That's how bad it's got.
Yeah, do you know what I don't like as well? What they started doing was, in the 90s when they had like someone come on and do a voice, like a celebrity. That celebrity would be voicing a character, but now they always come on and voice themselves.
Hi, I'm Tom Hanks. Like that.
And it's like, and it's just really forced. Like, oh, how do we get Lady Gaga into the episode?
That was the episode where I fell off it.
Yeah, but like,
so I thought this is trash.
If in the 90s, if Lady Gaga was around, she'd be voicing a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I just don't like that. I hate that.
They had Michael Jackson voicing a character, didn't they?
Yeah, they had Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. They had loads of people.
Yeah.
I think Michael J. Fox did a couple of characters. There was a lot of big actors, and in some cases they didn't even use their own names. Like when Michael Jackson did it, like the credited name, something like Ray J. Johnson.
And he said he didn't sing any of the songs, but he clearly did.
Well, yeah,
he sung all the songs on it, and then he did the Batman. So.
Yeah, you know, I've just all I've had in my head as well, like when we talk about episodes, is the one where Homer gets like really, really fat.
Oh, that's
and he
puts it
and he's like, Lisa's on the bus, and Ralph says something to him. She's like, "Hey, my dad may be overweight, but he's not a monster or something." And then he drives past him in the ice cream truck. He's like, it's raspberry. Oh, and he like drives off in the truck.
Yeah. It always like that. I like the era when I were really into Simpsons, when like Simpsons Wrestling came out on PS1. It weren't a good game, but that were like I were well into Simpsons then, because I were like
Simpsons Hit and Run was a banger.
Hit and Run's a really good game, yeah. But yeah, Simpsons. That's my first pick, and we'll move back on to Biggie.
Yeah, well, funny enough, you mentioned the Simpsons, because the one I want to talk about is Futurama.
Hey.
Love it.
Love Futurama.
Love it.
Which came in 1999.
Way more consistent of a show.
Weirdly enough, premiered on the same day as Family Guy, on the same channel. They were one after each other. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Wow.
So, the lead character Fry is accidentally frozen when delivering pizza. Pizza falls into... what you call
cryogenic chamber.
Cryogenic machine, thank you. And he wakes up 1,000 years in the future. He's taken in by his sole descendant, an elderly and adult scientist who's technically a great nephew or something.
Yeah, it's his relative, isn't it? Yeah.
Who owns a small cargo delivery service. Among the other crew members are Captain Leela, accountant Hermes, intern Amy, and obviously the obnoxious robot Bender. And the lobster, not sure if he's actually qualified, Dr. Zoidberg.
The greatest character in cartoons ever created.
Amazing.
Because why not Zoidberg?
He's so good. That episode when they go to his planet, so good.
It went on for 7 seasons and was sadly cancelled, but at least it had its finale.
At least it was consistent all the way through. I'd rather have seven brilliant seasons than 31. Like half of them are good. Or not even half of them. A quarter.
Not even half of them. The first third are good.
Yeah. Surely. Ooh.
But you got great characters like Zap Brannigan.
Oh yeah. And Kip.
Kip is assistant.
The Zap and Kip interactions are great, but my favourite Zap Brannigan line is when they're having to crash land the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
She's built like a steakhouse, but she handles like a bistro. Just piloting this satellite restaurant to the crowd.
Yeah.
Do you know one of my favourite recurring characters is the stabby robot?
Oh god.
And it's like, I'm gonna stab you. Yeah, it's like it just it just makes me laugh every time.
But yeah, it's a weird balance, isn't it? Because it has that sort of charm of The Simpsons, but of more adult humour of Family Guy. It sort of, I think it's a little bit more...
I don't think kids are into Futurama. I don't think it were a kids thing. There was no little Bart Simpson for him to latch onto, because that's what Bart was really, when a little Dennis the Menace type.
But the subtlety is really good. The humour's excellent, and I think it's a tighter show.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. For those that aren't sure, they were voiced by Billy West, Katie Sagal, John DiMaggio, amongst many others. And in fact, one of our esteemed listeners, John Cheetham, wrote in and put it brilliantly. He said, Futurama, one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Timeless characters, and is now old enough to be both set in the future and also retro. It kept getting taken off the air, and amazingly, they had an incredible finale every time. Always worth a binge.
There's the season 4 finale might be my favourite one of their finales. Their 3 finales that they had.
Which one's for season 4?
So the season 4 finale. So that was the original run on Fox.
Yeah.
And that was the episode where Fry makes the deal with the robot devil, who is the second greatest character in the show.
Yeah.
For robot hands, so he can play the holoflute and do the opera for Leela.
Yeah.
Because he's in love with her.
Yeah.
And it's one of the funniest episodes. It's
sad
a
as
proper
well.
musical episode. But the way it ends, it's like it's a tearjerker ending, but in a happy way. Like, you feel happy at the end of that episode because it's really sweet. And
the one that didn't end so well that made me cry a lot was the one with the loyal dog.
Oh, don't you remind me of that! No, can't do it.
Killed me, man.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow.
So well written, but my God.
Yeah, that one came out of nowhere. The gut punch of Seymour.
Yeah. It was such a subtle show. Like I always said, I quote this all the time, my favourite joke, I think it might even be season 1, where the news anchor Morbo, they say, "So Morbo, how's the children?" He goes, "Benevolent and numerous." That's my favourite joke in the whole.
That newsreader's
love Morbo.
I saw a great one today as well, which is just shows how much of an arsehole Bender was.
Oh yeah.
Hermes is like stood on the top of the building. He's like, "I gotta jump," and Bender's just shouts up. He's just like, "Do a flip." Do you know what? Speaking about Bender, you mentioned, is it DiMaggio did the voice?
Yeah,
it blew my mind when I found out that was Marcus Phoenix.
And Waka from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I had no idea about that.
Oh, you should know.
There's a great clip from a Comic-Con panel where someone brings up that he does both those voices. And he gets Bender to say, "Oh my God, it's Marcus Phoenix." Shut up, robot. Like, he just argues with himself in the two voices. It's so
excellent.
funny. Yeah, I adore Futurama. It was one I was tempted to put in for this myself because it's significantly better than The Simpsons.
I don't think I've got any fault
ways.
for it, really.
No, and I think it's good.
There's a few Duff episodes. Is it some? I weren't particularly a fan of the Titanic one, but it's still a decent episode. It's not my favourite.
I like that one, but there's no real downsides to the show apart from, like you say, the odd Duff episode here and there. The jokes are tighter. They get to be because it's a sci-fi setting. They're allowed to get really fucking weird with things.
Yeah,
like the whole episode where global warming is affecting things, and all the scientists in the world can't work out how to cool the Earth down, and it ends up the robots fart their way to push the Earth like 5 feet to the left, so it's slightly further away from the sun. It's just like, what fevered brain thought this up?
It feels like that Matt Groening enjoyed writing for that more than he did for The Simpsons at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
You could tell.
There's a lot of like nerdy jokes. I like the kind of the hack that they got to allow having celebrity guests into it.
Yeah, with the heads,
with them being heads, and I think that works better than the way The Simpsons does
Richard
it. Because
Nixon
The Simpsons,
especially.
Yeah, The Simpsons does the same thing, just putting a celebrity in there, as Stig said. But with doing it with the heads thing, it's just like it's literally here's a celebrity gag, and that's literally what it's there for. And and then they say they can have Richard Nixon in.
And Ronald Reagan smash. Remember that one? That was
that was The Simpsons.
Oh, was it
Reagan
Simpsons
smash
that?
That was The Simpsons.
No, that's also in Futurama.
Is it?
I'm sure it is.
No, Nixon is in Futurama.
Nixon's in Futurama, and he gets the big robot body.
That's it. I'm getting confused. Yeah,
Reagan smashes The Simpsons. Yeah.
Still great.
The robot wrestling episode, I think might be one of my favourites. Just with Bender, he starts out, he's got a good storyline, he's fucking shit up, and then he's like, no, the fans are turning against you, so we're going to put you in a wig and call you the Gender Bender.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
A lot of Futurama fans didn't like them, but I really liked the feature length specials that they did. So kind of the 5th season when it was brought back, they were brought back as 4 100-minute long episodes.
Yeah.
And they were split into 4 chunks for each of them. There's one especially where they accidentally fall into Dungeons and Dragons, which is hysterical.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that one. But the Beast with a Billion Backs is a pretty good episode too.
I do like.
Where they kind of find heaven and God, and it turns out it's an interdimensional alien that's just put the idea of what heaven looks like into the artists of the world.
My all-time favourite Futuramas, though, the one where they go to Zoidberg's planet and there's the mating ritual and stuff like that. And they're in that arena, and it's like they're gonna choose your weapon, and he chops his arm off and stuff. It's so good.
Zoidberg taking off his shell is like
it's
a horrid sight.
He takes it off to wash it and stuff.
Awful. Actually, no. I will tell you, my favourite episode is the one where Fry and Bender end up joining the army.
Oh yeah,
they get into Zap Brannigan's army.
Yeah,
because it is just so much Zap Brannigan.
I love his little skirt as well, his little mini skirts that they wear.
It's so weird, isn't it? It's such a weird design, but it works for some reason.
It's velour.
Yeah,
I should have you know.
Love it. Fantastic. We recommend if you've not watched. I don't know if you haven't, that's ridiculous. But if you've not watched Futurama, just get on that straight away. And Biggie's telling you to do it as well. And you can't ignore that. Yes. So, good shout, Biggie, with that one. We'll move on to Stig.
Okay, so my second one I'm going to bring is Robot Chicken.
Love Robot Chicken.
That one indeed. Yeah, so this is a adult animated stop-motion sketch show.
Yes.
They're only about 10 minutes long per episode. It was on Adult Swim, started in 2001, created by Seth Green and Matthew Senreich, and it's just a series of silly sketches, but with dolls and action figures. So they'll take real-life action figures of the likes of, say, He-Man, G.I. Joes, Thundercats,
Batman
wrestling figures, Batman, DC characters, Marvel characters, anything you think of, Disney princesses. Transformers, yeah. They will take all of these toys and they will just put them in these really stupid situations and make fun of like the tropes of things. Like I've been watching some of these like this week to kind of because I knew I wanted to talk about Robot Chicken, but it's been a long time since I watched it. So I thought I'm going to watch some of the best ones back. It's just silly things like they have Batman's doing a funeral for Green Arrow.
Oh, God, yeah.
And he's giving this funeral. It's just like blah blah blah. But he just goes, "Do you know what? Fuck this." He goes, "What is the point in this?" He's like, because. He goes, he's either going to come back to life, we'll find a new one in a different dimension, or we'll find a ring that resurrects him. He's like, hands up here, who's died and come back to life? And everyone puts their hands up, and they all like he gives this big speech, and everyone's like, yeah. And then right at the end, like one of the, I can't remember which character, looks to her right, and there's Green Arrow just sat next to her.
Yeah.
He's back already. And they just do stupid shit like that. And this one was my favourite ones. I saw this week, proper made me laugh. So there's all the Disney princesses sat around the table, and they're like, "Well, what do we do today?" It's just like we've come to this Disney princess round table kind of thing, and they're all like, "Oh, what's on the agenda today?" It's just like, "Oh, we'll talk about hairdos or talking animals or hairdos for our talking animals." He goes, "Oh, the new princess is coming today," and then walks Merida.
Yeah.
So Merida is obviously very different.
Yeah.
She's, this fiery Scottish princess who's just not the typical Disney princess. And they start taking the piss out of her, and she declares war on them. And some of them break off. So the likes of Mulan, Pocahontas, Tiana and that break away from the traditional princesses, and they're like, "Do you know what? Fuck you, yeah." And they join her, and it just becomes this like war between the Disney princesses.
It's like a long-running set of sketches as well, isn't it? Like they just pop back into that little storyline every so often.
And it was so great the way they set it up. So Cinderella's like, "Oh, this calls for some magic," and the fairy godmother turns up with a bag of guns.
Yeah.
It's just like biggity bobbity boo, and puts the guns down. And then this is the best line. Ariel says, "I have thingamabobs."
Do you need thingamabobs? I've got thingamabobs. Nobody cares about the dildo collection you dredged up from the Atlantic, you fishy bitch.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of strong moments like that, though. When one of the Barbies or Cindy dolls, where she gets a bit fucked up on meth for a while, and she has to go to rehab and stuff.
Yeah, it goes into really dark places with characters. It's really violent.
Where do you watch this then? What's it on?
Well, now I just watch clips on YouTube, but I used to watch it. It was an Adult Swim, and it used to be on Comedy Central.
They're only 10 minutes long, so they tend to have the full episodes on YouTube just right there for you, mate.
Yeah, the Star Wars specials are a great place to start.
They've done so many specials.
The Star Wars specials are better than the Family Guy ones, trust me.
Yeah,
they've done let me just tell you which ones they've done. They've done a Christmas special.
Yeah.
They've done 3 Star Wars specials. They've done 3 DC specials. Another Christmas special, the Walking Dead special.
I've not seen the Walking Dead one.
No, I've not seen that one, but the Star Wars ones are so great.
Actually, the Emperor is incredible.
Yeah, the Emperor's just like
there's
like a scene where the Emperor's like sat in his office and he's like, "You have a call from him." He's like, "Darth Vader." It's like, "Oh, I've got to take this." And he's like, "Oh, what's up?" And he goes, "What do you mean they destroyed the Death Star?"
Yeah.
He's like, "What the hell is an aluminum falcon?" It's just like the Emperor's just completely opposite to what he's like in the films.
He's voiced him as like a Wheel of Daisy. You got Palpatine, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like stuff really funny.
He gets like thrown up when Darth Vader throws him over the edge. It like does a freeze frame, and it plays that Who song. Yeah, and he's just like
O'Reilly.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, you may be wondering how I got here." Like, kind of.
This is me.
Yeah, it's such a weird and wonderful show. Like, and it just plays on. It uses any toy going or anything. Like they'll just.
I'll definitely be watching this now.
But Robot Chicken's got like so many reoccurring characters as well that come back. There's like the nerd who comes back, and a lot of these are voiced by Seth Green as well.
I like how Seth Green sometimes comes as himself and talks to characters.
He comes
I'm Seth Green, creator of Robot Chicken.
The chicken, there's a unicorn that's a complete pervert, and like there's so many different weird characters.
It's really strong, back. And for an like as we know, I'm not a massive American comedy fan, but it's got like a Monty Python-esque feel to it. It's properly irreverent. It's really like sarcastic, which Americans don't tend to get sarcasm very well.
I'm watching it tonight.
It's got as well, like you often had blown me away really when the episode would finish and you just see these like huge names.
Yeah,
voices,
names.
Voices in here, and it's like massive names just doing voices, and it's for a 10-minute sketch show.
Yeah,
like,
Val Kilmer on it, loads.
Yeah, I think Seth Green probably pulled in a lot of like people he knew for it, but it's really good. It's one of those weird Adult Swim comedies from the 90s, which they did a lot of. I just wanted to quickly mention before I finish Robot Chicken. There's another one that they used to do called. Have you ever seen Drawn Together?
Yes, it's like Big Brother, isn't it?
Yeah, like Big Brother with like they took character like
you've got like the SpongeBob character,
a Superman, a SpongeBob, a Pikachu, and they put them in like a Big Brother house. That was just mental as
They're
well.
They're all trying to shag each other, weren't they?
Yeah,
basically like Big Brother is.
But Robot Chicken is really good. Like it's you can just go on YouTube now and just kind of put in Robot Chicken.
I don't think it's overly offensive either. It's not. No, it's not ridiculously offensive. Like,
and the best thing about it is because there's no real narrative to follow. You can just go and sit and watch half an hour of clips, best of, and you've got loads in there. Like I watched some like new ones I've not seen, which is they did like some Marvel ones based on the last few years of the MCU and stuff like that. So,
Robot Chicken,
one.
Absolutely. So, Gadget.
The last one I'm going to put together is a kind of a two-parter because it is the combined works of H. John Benjamin, because I want to talk about Bob's Burgers and I want to talk about Archer. And H. John Benjamin not only voices the two lead named characters,
I do like his voice.
He uses the same voice, which is just his voice.
I do like his voice, though.
The laziest voice actor in the world. He's not actually. He's a very good voice actor.
Hi there.
For the two roles that he's most famous for, it's just his voice.
Yeah, it's so good.
So we'll start in alphabetical order. Archer is a 2009 series. It was on FX. Follows it's basically a spy parody.
Yeah, it is.
Archer himself, Sterling Archer, is a suave ladies' man. Very handsome, cut glass jaw, blue eyes, dark hair. He is the most typical of spies that you could ever think of, apart from the fact that he's a raging alcoholic and he's completely inept at everything.
Yeah, he's not a good spy.
No. He works for, at least up for the first 4 seasons, he works for the company known as ISIS.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Which I'm trying
named after the Egyptian goddess.
International Secret Intelligence Service. They were a thing before ISIS itself was a thing. Before Islamic State became
very awkward.
Very awkward.
Well, that's why they had to drop it at the 5th season.
Yeah.
The head of this organization is his mother.
Yeah.
Archer doesn't know his father, and he has mummy issues, and it causes a lot of chaos.
Does he?
Yes. Alongside him is Lana Kane, who is kind of Archer's love interest, kind of compatriot,
on off romance.
Yeah, she's voiced by Isha Tyler. You have Pam Poovey, who is the HR woman, who's fucking insane.
Yeah,
like most HR women and men.
the absolutely insane Cheryl or possibly Carol Tunt, who is a billionaire, but still works as a receptionist for Mallory Archer, and is completely off her box.
Yeah.
But my favorite character in it has to be the mad scientist Krieger.
Oh God. Yeah.
I fell in love with that man about the time that he created his own holographic anime wife that just sits on his desk in a wedding dress and criticizes him all the time. But it is the biggest parody of kind of 60s spy shows. It's got a very 60s aesthetic to it. Archer is himself universally useless, but somehow manages to bumble through missions. There's usually a heavy body count. He's usually drunk. Yeah. Everyone is in every scene near enough pictured with a glass of whiskey.
Oh yeah, it's
all
like Mad
drinking
Men.
constantly.
Like Mad Men, they're always smoking and drinking.
Yeah. But it is really funny. It's so not bound in reality.
No.
If you want an intro to it, watch the first season and then skip straight ahead to season 5, which is referred to as Archer Vice.
Yeah.
Pip and I started rewatching it today. Basically, that's the point where in the real world ISIS became a thing, so they had to get rid of the ISIS organization in the show, and they get shut down by the government.
Quite a soft reboot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a soft reboot. They get shut down. They realize they have all this stuff that they had taken from drug dealers and all that. They basically have 2,000 kilograms of cocaine and no idea what to do with it, so they decide to start a drug cartel.
Why not?
And by the time you get to 7 episodes in, they've made 0 money and lost about 300 kilograms of it.
Where did it go?
Mostly up Pam's nose.
Yeah.
What did you think of the most recent few series where it's been kind of...
It's been a bit hit or miss.
It's not been critically received as well, has it?
It's Archer in space, or it's Archer doing...
they're trying
different areas.
Kind of like themed seasons. Like, I think mostly taking from like the kind of idea of like a James Bond film having a subject for a film.
Yeah.
Like
Moonraker
and shit like that. But stretching out to an entire season. I don't know if it works as well as they'd like it to. There's still some funny moments. There's a lot of funny dialogue.
It's never boring, is it? That's the ticket.
My only issue with Archer, personally, it's a little bit too rapid.
It is quite rapid.
It can be, yeah.
It's very, very fast American comedy, and I just sometimes find it a bit hard to catch up.
Yeah, I get that.
Catch it, sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, some of the jokes come very rapid fire, but you're still finding a whole host of things to laugh at throughout each episode. And I say Archer Vice is so funny. Like, we got halfway through the series just today. The short episodes, the 20-minute episodes, we're still creased laughing. We've both seen it before a couple of times, and
it's good,
absolutely brilliant. But
do you know how Jessica Walter ended up doing the voice for his mother?
No, I forget. Jessica Walter did.
So when they were describing her mother, the words were literally like something a little bit like Lucille Bluth.
Yeah.
And she was told this, and she just went, "Well, why don't I just voice it then?"
Yeah, because it's me.
Yeah, so that's how she ended up, and that's why both parts are very similar. Like they're very similar kind of characters.
Strong parts, though. They're strong characters.
So she was just like, "Well, if that's what they want, then I'll just do it." And she's brilliant in it. Yeah. Like she's one of the standouts in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she is one of the best characters in it. She is, and I think it possibly just Jessica Walter's ability to have the most pithy put downs.
Yeah.
Which, when they're written into Archer, just get said with added swear words. But my favorite piece of Archer wisdom is when someone tells him that he possibly shouldn't be drinking and driving, and he just says back and says, "If I stop drinking all at once, I'm afraid the cumulative hangover might kill me."
I feel a bit like that today.
Yeah. Well, that leads on to the other one I want to talk about, which is Bob's Burgers, which
I've never seen
Benjamin
this.
voices. So
I haven't seen
Bob's
it either.
Burgers is infinitely more sedate than Archer. It's a more traditional animated comedy.
I've seen the guy with his black hair and his mustache and his apron on. I've seen him.
Yeah, that's the titular Bob Belcher. Literally the same voice. I'm not even kidding you. It's not like John DiMaggio moving. You can see, you can hear a little bit of Bender in Marcus Phoenix. No, it is the same voice. They make a joke of this in one of the episodes of Archer, where Archer loses his memory and wakes up running a burger restaurant.
He does.
And he's got the mustache, he's got the apron, and the voice actor for Linda makes a guest appearance.
Oh, wow.
But it's all in the Archer animation style, so it's fucking brilliant. But yeah, Bob's Burgers it's a more sedate thing. It follows the Belcher family as they run Bob's titular restaurant, Bob's Burgers. They live in a kind of a northeastern seaside town in America, and it's a bit surreal. It's a bit gentle. It gets wild at times. It doesn't get particularly dark, but there's a lot of kind of parody and things. Humor-wise, it sits somewhere between early Simpsons and early Family Guy.
Oh wow!
It doesn't do the kind of the cutaway thing, but it's got that. It's got this edge of like Bob just wants to get on with life. He just wants to make his little restaurant a bit of a success.
But his family's getting in the way, I'm assuming.
Well, no, his family all kind of are supposed to help him. His family are supposed to be kind of lifting him up. His wife, Linda, she's the kind of the constant kind of push to keep him going.
Yeah.
They have 3 children who help out in the restaurant. So the eldest is Tina, she's kind of portrayed as about 14 and very boy obsessed.
All right.
She's puberty's hitting her like a fucking brick to the face. You've got Gene Belcher, who is possibly my favorite cartoon character of all time.
Wow.
Gene Belcher is absolutely hilarious. He is completely unencumbered by shame.
Mm.
He is loud and proud about whatever he's interested in at any given time. And he is the one who's regularly featured outside the front of the shop wearing a burger costume, handing out flyers, and just making fart sounds on his little keyboard that he carries around with him. And the youngest is Louise, who is a psychopath.
Mm.
She is an evil genius.
Same in my house.
The world. Yeah. But the storylines just kind of generally revolve around Bob trying to succeed at something and usually failing. Or there's some kind of family drama. You get a lot of side characters like Linda's sister, who is a crazy cat lady, voiced by Megan Mullally, who was in Will and Grace and various other kind of American sitcoms.
I've never seen that.
She plays a great part. You get a lot of the Archer voice actors kind of pop in and out, even though they're not linked as a production. They're just linked via H. John Benjamin.
Yeah, they probably respect him that much. So that's probably why they're doing him favours.
What I like about it is that it is so. This isn't an insult to it. I mean this with all the happiness in the world for it. It's a very middle-aged comedy.
A bit like what's it called? King of the Hill type.
Kind of, yeah. Like Bob is your point of sympathy.
Yeah.
You don't laugh at Bob, generally speaking. Like with The Simpsons, you laugh at Homer, or Family Guy, you laugh at Peter.
Yeah.
The show is the audience avatar is Bob.
Yeah, you along for the ride with Bob, basically.
Yeah, and Bob is just as weary of the bullshit that his family puts him through as any parent.
But I relate to Bob so much, and I've never even seen the man.
You should watch his show. Watch the show. It is really, really funny. And I don't want to go on too long about it because I've already talked quite a lot about my picks, but it's peppered with musical numbers. It's a very musical show.
Mm.
And there was a absolutely brilliant episode where Bob, he's finally there's a magazine that wants to interview him. And he's like, oh my God, this is going to be a big thing. It's like one of those magazines that you get in motels and stuff like that. It's like so there's an advert for people to come to his restaurant when they're in that town. And he's very excited about it. And throughout that episode, the children are playing pranks on each other. And it's like a war of attrition with the pranks. And Bob goes to the toilet in the restaurant. He's a bit nervous and he's just thinking, I'll go to the loo, I'll get myself sorted and all that kind of thing. And Louise, as part of the escalation to try and get Gene back, put the strongest super glue on the toilet seat.
Oh no.
So he gets his arse stuck to it.
Oh no.
And there is this wonderful song that comes up at the end of this because Louise is adamant that she's not to be blamed. She hasn't done anything wrong. Bob just wants everyone to go away and leave him alone so he doesn't have to suffer the shame of the magazine seeing him like this and writing about him. And there's a song which is sung from both perspectives. And like, when you get songs that kind of cross over each other like that, where they're singing different things on top of each other, like in a round.
Yeah.
It's called Bad Things Happen in the Bathroom. I'm going to put in a clip here. It's fucking amazing because it's of the quality of something from a musical.
Bad stuff happens in the bathroom. I'm just glad that it happens in a vacuum. Can't let them see me with my pants down. Toaster's magazine is gonna be my big chance now, 'cause I'll be out of here in no time. No one's gonna It's gonna be a great day. Culture Coasters magazine and blow everyone away.
And the other episode that's worth watching is there is an episode where the kids are in school and it's for their kind of end of year musical performance play thing. Gene wants to do a musical version of Die Hard on stage. But he gets outvoted, and the girls in the school end up getting a musical version of Working Girl going on because apparently it's a more possible thing to do. Fights happen. All the kind of the chaos of the episode coalesces to the point where they decide to be fair and combine the two performances, so you get a Die Hard Working Girl musical performance, and it's fucking brilliant because you've got Gene dressed as Hans Gruber singing about Working Girl falling off Nakatomi Plaza.
I'm into that.
Absolutely,
I'm into that.
Yeah, check out Bob's Burgers. It is really good, and the soundtrack alone is fucking brilliant.
Excellent, thank you. So, my last pick is something that everyone's always goes, oh god, it's relatively new and it's on Netflix. It's called Big Mouth.
No.
See what I mean?
I fucking hate that show so much.
I've not seen it.
Stars Nick Kroll, John Mulaney, Jason Mantzoukas, Maya Rudolph, and Jordan Peele. Now, it's a show about Nick and Andrew. It's semi-autobiographical, but it's ridiculous. And they're in middle school / high school, and it's about the insurmountable struggles of puberty. We all remember that. Basically, it starts off, first episode, they're in sex education at school, and we know how conservative that can be at school. So what happens is hormone monsters, they come and talk to them, like these big Wookiee-looking things that saying, "Hey guy, why didn't you go and make out with her?" But it's a bit more crude than that. It's a bit disgusting, and it's basically, I think there's only like 3 or 4 seasons at the moment, and it's about this struggle. In every season's another year at school. It's not like Simpsons where Bart's like 10 forever, and it's about these two best friends, teenagers, and just going through that like sexual struggle of being a teenager and getting into girls and noticing changes in people's bodies and stuff. And it is disgusting. There's disgusting things that they discuss and scenes and stuff, but the voice acting's incredible. You've got Jordan Peele as a ghost of a Duke. I can't remember his name, Duke something. And he's always singing and stuff, and it's just really strong. Like, you guys clearly don't like it. What is it that...
I haven't seen it.
What did you not like about it when you watched it? Have you seen many episodes?
I've seen the whole first season, and my main issue with it is it's a clever idea that's completely wasted. So the idea of the puberty monsters.
Yeah, hormone monsters.
Hormone monsters, rather. All the children have their own one.
Yes.
Fine, fair enough. I like that. That's a really cool concept. Yeah. But then having them just interacting with the other kids.
Yeah, but you don't know if they can hear them or not. That's the thing.
No, but they can. They have full conversations with them.
Yeah, they don't talk to adults, do they? That's the thing.
No, they don't talk to adults, but they talk to the other children.
Yeah.
And like it's a cartoon that breaks its own rules, which annoys me for a start. I like realism in my animation.
Wow.
Sue me. I'm very defensive on cartoons, but the fact that the kids don't even sound like kids, like it's just Nick Kroll doing his voice, and it annoys the piss out of me when that happens because it's so lazy. And I don't think Nick Kroll's a particularly funny actor anyway. Like Jason Mantzoukas, I love him. He's so funny.
He's best character, isn't it?
Yeah, in the role that he plays in that, he is very funny.
Yeah,
but it's no.
You're just not into it, pal. I mean, it has won 3 Emmys, and it's got
not that I'm not into it.
Average 80% on Metacritic. It's a good show.
No. Rick and Morty's a good show, which came out around about the same time, has the same edge to its humour, but handles itself in a...
Get ready for Oodles' next hot take. Rick and Morty's overrated.
I mean, no, Rick and Morty is absolutely overrated, but it's good.
There's only one really brilliant episode, and that's Pickle Rick. That's a good episode.
It's the worst episode.
No, it's so
like
good.
The best episode.
It's so good because they're barely
great,
talking.
But it's not the best one. It's so much better.
Again, I've not even seen
It's
Rick
not that
and
good.
Morty.
It's not that good. But like, Jason Mantzoukas' character, Jay Bilzerian, is like that's a standout character for me. Like, there's a whole arc where his puberty is getting so much for him, and he's a bisexual in it, and he's coming to terms with that, and he has an affair with his pillow, and then and his pillow's a woman, and then he finds out that his sofa cushion's a man, and he has an affair with his sofa cushion and stuff, and it sounds ridiculous, but there's heart to it, if you get me. It's like, he's only a kid. Do you know what I mean? But
but
he is shagging them, like, to be fair.
Yeah, that's kind of like feeds into what my problem with the show is. It's like,
yeah, kids aren't they?
It's applying these fantasy ideas that if the show went full in with the fantasy stuff, so if it went Rick and Morty and just accepted that this strange shit happens in the world.
Yeah, they don't know, do they? That's the thing. The adults don't see nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So you've got like one rule for the kids, one rule for the adults, but they kind of sometimes break it because there's things that the puberty monsters do. I'm going to keep calling that because I know the hormone monsters, but the things that the puberty monsters do that somehow affect the adults in the world. So it means that they have an influence on that, and that's the stuff that annoys me. I think it's really lazy. Which is a shame because the show has the potential to be really groundbreaking.
I genuinely think you should
fantastic.
watch more of it. There's some really good eye concept episodes, like where Nick, the main character, he goes into the future and sees his life as an adult and stuff like that, and how he can potentially butterfly effect change his life, and he's really clever. And there's a full season, one of the later seasons, where they go to summer camp, and they're all about 15, 16 at this point. So, like, they're all absolutely just, you know what you were like at that age. I'm not going to describe it, but yeah, I think it gets stronger. It's one of those rare shows that I think it gets better the more you watch it. I genuinely think you should give it another shot. Come on,
Nah.
have you seen it at all, Stig?
Yeah, I bounced off after like 2 episodes.
Really. I just think it's really funny. It hits hard sometimes. I remember being that age and hormones flying around. So I didn't have a hormone monster or anything like that.
You were the
You are a
monster.
hormone monster.
But I think it's quite strong, and like I said, critically, people love it. So you guys are the minority on that one. Everyone's probably going to write and go, it's shit, but
I haven't got a view.
I think you'd like it, Biggie. I know you're quite a sexual person as well, so naturally. But yeah, from that we'll move on to the mailbag, and I'm sure Postman Pat has a lot of letters. Is Postman Pat for adults? It's not, is it?
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Rob Frodsham, Bob Frod, has tweeted in all 4 of the pictured cartoons. So when we tweeted out about this, we had a picture of Homer Simpson with Peter Griffin eating donuts, Archer, South Park, and Rick and Morty. So all 4 of the pictured cartoons and above mentioned BoJack Horseman are excellent. I just give a mention to a lesser renowned Monkey Dust from the early days of BBC Three. Terribly dark and terribly funny. I remember Monkey Dust.
I think I've tried Monkey Dust in a club in Leeds before, but never watched
less
it.
About that. Ben at XBenBlasterX says Netflix have been putting some great animated shows out like Castlevania and Dota.
Yeah.
They're a lot better than they have any right to be, and with rumours circulating about Fallout and Elder Scrolls animated series, I'm excited to see what Netflix has. I love a Fallout animated series. I think that world would work.
It's
for
Prime,
animation.
isn't it, for that?
Yeah.
I think
I've also heard, I mean, this has now been going around for like the last 2-3 years, that the people who are doing Castlevania have the rights to do Devil May Cry as well.
That's true, yeah.
And they wanted to
There has
bring them
been a
into-
Devil May
they
Cry
wanted to-
anime, but it was proper edgelordy.
Yeah, but if they do it in the style of Castlevania, it'll be brilliant. 'cause
Castlevania's
they are just-
incredible.
Yeah, and the rumour was that because they've got the rights, they can actually blend them in together, and they're going to bring them both together, and kind of like a team up kind of thing. So, but that seems to have gone very
Reeves will be
quiet.
beside themselves.
I will be.
Yes. Yeah.
Into that.
I'm going to try Dota though. Definitely going to try that.
I don't even know what Dota is, but I know it's based on a game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's based on a MOBA. Just to keep adding to your acronyms.
Look them up. We're not here to do everything.
No.
I was going to say I'll tell you offline. Pete Beckett says BoJack Horseman is for me the best example of how to do an adult comedy cartoon incredibly well. Funny, affecting, poignant, but ridiculous with its visual humour. It manages to make you laugh 1 minute, then get choked up the next. Not a single bad episode, and it ended nearly perfectly.
Yeah, I like BoJack.
I haven't seen that.
I dropped off BoJack after like 2 episodes.
Do you know the subtle fact that animals live in that world is just incredible to me. Animals and humans live together, don't they? And it's like fucking wild, man. Love it.
Terrestrial Extra at Terrestrial Extra says Star Trek Lower Decks is something I loved recently. I think recommended by our good selves. Yes, I brought it up.
You brought it to my
first
attention
watched
as well, and it's incredible.
If not, it's worth a watch, and I'm very much looking forward to season 2.
Same.
Me too.
What's episode 3 now?
Wow.
Yeah. Take your time. We fucking binged it in a night.
Biggie will chuff finish Final Fantasy VII before you finish that.
Been digging a hole in the garden.
I watched it when Gadget told me. I watched it that night, didn't I? I told you. I was like,
you did, yeah.
Finished it. It's brilliant. You know what I'm like with me endurance viewings.
Yeah. How many times did you watch Justice League?
4 in total.
7 times now? 4 in total.
But now TV's run out now, so I'm not watching that anymore.
Okay. Wait for the Blu-ray version. So, apologies, friend. I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, but Woo Rui has emailed in, and I'm very sorry for inevitably getting your name wrong. Dear Modern Escapism, I was introduced to your show by my good friend Kurt not long ago, and I've been enjoying listening to your podcast since. Very excited to know you are doing an episode in adult animation series. There are already suggestions made to talk about BoJack Horseman. Since BoJack Horseman is not just my favourite adult cartoon animated series, but my favourite TV show in general.
Get it.
Although usually tagged as comedy like most other adult animations, the show does have a lot of hilarious moments. The core emotion running under BoJack Horseman is actually somber and sorrow.
Yeah, it's a drama, man.
This unique story focus sets it apart from most adult animations that are trying to make the viewers laugh. Adult animation series are usually deemed adult because they tend to contain contents that are inappropriate for children. But BoJack is a show for adults because it requires the viewers to have certain aspects of life experience in work, relationships, as well as dealing with other hardships in life to understand the struggle of its characters. And instead of making you laugh out loud to the absurd plot, it makes you smile at the absurdity of life. The world of BoJack Horseman is not a kind one. Wrongdoings won't be forgiven because one attempt of reconciliation. Hard work doesn't get rewarded most of the time. Talent may not be recognised, but it is fine. Everyone is making their efforts. Because even though it is hard, it gets easier if you're willing to do it every day. It's a fun show because it tells clever jokes that resonate. It's a depressing show because happiness needs to be earned but is never guaranteed to be gained in it. But in the end, it's a show that will give you the courage to pat the dust off you, stand up from where you fell. I'm a sucker for a silly, inspiring story. That's a hell of an email.
What a beautifully written
Wow.
email. That was beautiful, that.
An excellent first correspondent. It's really making me want to watch BoJack.
It's good, mate.
Well.
Yeah, it's mentioned 4 or 5
really
times from everyone.
You'll really like it. It is quite somber, but even first episode, you'll be in, mate. I promise you. You'll be in.
Well, I did. I watched the first 2 and I just kind of fell off.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know why.
Maybe, sometimes it's like wrong place, wrong time, innit? With a lot of things. So, yeah, it's really strong.
I'm going to get it right in the edit this time because Best Boy Angry Kurt has written again after my horrendous editing faux pas last week. I cut off half of his email and made it sound like it was all Ben talking. Hi, chaps. Controversial, but I'm putting forward SpongeBob SquarePants. For me, an adult cartoon is one which is funny to adults but also explores deep topics. Now, I would argue that SpongeBob does both of these things. Well, he's underwater, isn't he? So he's very deep.
Wow.
Please insert a drum there.
I still laugh at SpongeBob today, and I would say the first SpongeBob film is up there with the best TV to film spin-off going.
Wow.
Certainly better than the Simpsons film. Even my dad in his 60s still laughs his head off at SpongeBob. Sure, not every episode explores deep, meaningful topics, but there is the odd heartfelt moment here and there. And what better way to cement it as an adult animation... what better way to cement it as an adult as well as kids cartoon than by having episodes removed due to content, as happened a couple of weeks ago? What the fuck happened to SpongeBob?
Wow. Do you know what? This is going to upset Kurt as well. I've never seen a single episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. Not one.
I've never seen one all the way through.
I mean, I am the person that's only watched 2 episodes of Friends as well, so I'm just a rotter, aren't I? mean?
I'm not keen on it, but I know why. I can understand why people like it.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones. I've tried it. It's not for me.
I know of it and stuff like. There's cartoons like Ren and Stimpy back in the day, which that was on Nickelodeon. But wow,
that's adult.
Yeah, that's adult as fuck. That one. He also goes on to say, my favourite non-controversial choice would be The Simpsons, which I still watch loads over the years, but I won't go into details. I'm sure one of you will have picked it as your choice. And if not, then I don't know what to do. I'll say, we picked it, and then kind of eviscerated most of it.
No, but let me just stress the fact that the good Simpsons are top tier. They are, are incredible pieces of entertainment.
Seasons 2 to 9 is just perfect.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
John Lister has come in saying, afternoon, gents. When it first released, I tried to watch BoJack Horseman. It was fine, but after a few episodes, I lost focus and never continued with the show. Last year, I was finally convinced to try it again and quickly got past the uneven first half of the season and started to realise why it was so heavily recommended. I finished the show, and the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced it's one of the best TV shows I've ever seen.
Really good.
Its first half season feels a lot like most other animation. And while it's well written and casted, it doesn't feel like anything special. By the second season, it has become a profound meditation on fame, depression, and the modern condition. Bojack is a washed-up sitcom actor that is wallowing in alcoholism and despair as he achieved exactly what he wanted, but it never made him happy, and he fears it was the high point of his life. Fucking hell, that's heavy. The show presents an anti-hero that you are made to sympathise with, but never excuses his misdeeds or allows him to find easy redemption. Every attempt to find a new source of happiness and success just results in more self-destructive behaviour. There are times when the show becomes too real, and some of its standout moments are really tough to watch. Its approach to social satire is unflinching, and how the final season brings the show to a close by tying up loose threads from the previous 6 years to reckon with Bojack's treatment of everyone in his life is truly masterful. Bojack is a show I love, but I'm not sure I can recommend it to everyone. It's a tough watch, but one that's really worth the effort.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm gonna have to watch Bojack now.
Bojack Horseman is played by Will Arnett, and his voice is incredible. You've got to love him. And
you should watch it, Biggie, to round up your week of depressing watches.
It's not depressing as in like it's not like a depressing way. It's like a take on like midlife crisis and living life after fame and stuff like that. And
definitely,
and he's a fucking horse. So watch it.
Okay, to round out the mailbox, we have Christopher Love, otherwise known as Debbie Punk. Dear Modified Escutcheons.
Wow.
I shall start this as a tale. I had the opportunity to spend a few months in America. All I had to do was become unemployed. Getting fired is incredibly easy and a story for another time. So a sweet little 18-year-old punk went to the States, only to realise how strict they are about the legal drinking age, which is set at 21. 20-fucking-1. 1 in 20. As a young Irishman, I assume he was upset at this.
Tough.
Yeah, what's their drinking age in Ireland? 12.
So I left a summer of crack and development in Ireland behind for a teetotal trek in Sioux Falls. My only pastimes were smoking Marlboro Reds and fighting off evangelical recruiters. I tried quite hard to get deported, which again is a story for another time. So I turned to the traditional American sport of television, which was a multitude of gash, except for one channel, Adult Swim, and we've talked a lot about Adult Swim tonight.
Gotta love it.
I was introduced to Metalocalypse, The Boondocks, Harvey Birdman, C-Lab 2021. Just one great show after another, although it was one show in particular that caught my attention, my adoration, my very being. The Venture Brothers.
Oh, shit, yeah. Can't you tell I don't read feedback as well beforehand?
Yeah.
Fuck.
The show begins the pastiche of Johnny Quest. I later learned the Cartoon Network would have allowed them to actually use the Quest characters if they really wanted.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they didn't go in this direction and created the Venture family instead.
Oh, so good.
This show blew my bollock socks off. I drank in the first series and awaited eagerly for the second series to release. A tradition for Venture Brother fans was the multi-year wait for new series to appear, which Rick and Morty is doing these days. The Venture Brothers revolves around the Venture family. Twin brothers Hank and Dean and their father, Dr. Thaddeus Rusty Venture, their bodyguard Brock Sampson. Also their robot pal Helper, who may be the unsung hero of the entire series. The family fly around on their experimental supersonic jet, landing themselves in some incredibly odd scenarios. The episodes normally contain the most natural dialogue between the characters, obscure references, and some of the most gratuitous violence I'd ever seen on television. There are satirical takes on a lot of movies, shows, and novels during the run. An early episode that had me laughing my arse off was The Ghosts of Sargasso, in which Dr. Venture takes the family out to the Bermuda Triangle trying to dig up a crashed prototype to sell. A prototype that his father had left there out of respect for the dead, as the pilot, Major Tom, had passed away when it crashed, falling back to Earth. What follows is brilliance itself, detailing what makes it brilliant would only spoil what unfurls as the episode goes along. There are costume supervillains that are assigned to super scientists, the Mighty Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend being assigned to Dr. Venture, the friendly neighborhood necromancer that rents out property in the Venture compound, a guild to look after the administerial... Something like the admin aspects of villainy.
Swift edit.
Yeah. Space stations, supernatural monsters, Kafka levels of imagery, time travel, secret wings of government, and so much more. The show was cancelled after a glorious 7th season, which was a real shock to the system. This show paved the way for the likes of Archer, Rick and Morty, and Final Space. There's nothing quite like this show before it aired, and there really isn't anything to fill the void since it left. It could be crude, strange, and violent, but that was all a facade for the heart and wit running in the background. The show can be watched digitally on all 4, and I would implore anyone to give it a chance. I'm going to have to give this one a try. I've never seen The Venture Brothers.
I think, and Christopher's probably going to prove me, he's probably going to prove me wrong somehow, but I think it's like one of the last cartoons that has been fully animated by hand rather than
Right.
I'm pretty sure it is. He's probably going to go, "You're wrong," but it seems like it's hand drawn anyway.
All right. Didn't know that.
81 episodes to get through.
It's so good though. It's so I can't believe I forgot about it.
Yeah. Well, forget about some. Like I was just been thinking about other ones when you said any shout outs earlier, and I just remembered like during my childhood, I used to watch Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, really good.
That.
I got into music because of that.
And Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh yes.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Get it on.
Oh,
yeah, I love
they had
Celebrity
stuff like
Deathmatch.
Marilyn Manson versus like JFK.
Jackie Chan.
Manson was incredible. Like he always used to beat everyone up and like just kill them in such horrible ways. And they always just have Steve Austin from wrestling on as well as a special
I forgot about
commentator
Celebrity
or
Deathmatch.
referee.
I had the game as well.
They did a game of it as well, didn't
Yeah,
they?
it was shit.
That's the end of the mailbag.
Excellent.
Thank you everyone for writing in. That was fucking brilliant
Lovely.
as usual.
Do you know what?
Keep that
I
up.
love that the listeners. They're writing prose to us now. It's fantastic. It's some beautiful responses. I love it. What we're going to do now is swiftly move on to the socials.
So you can find us on Twitter at Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find a link to all our episodes, socials, and Discord. If you have any comments, you can either tweet us there or email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com. If you like to watch gaming streams, you can come and watch us at twitch.tv/modernescapism. Oodles is meant to be on Saturday nights, but pubs are back opening, so
no chance.
Not chance there. Monday, Biggie's back with his Dark Souls stream. We actually got a bit of feedback from Simon at Robotic Monkey. He's on this.
Really?
Yeah, he said, "Hello, I don't know if this is the right place for feedback or questions." It was. So I'm loving the show. I'm also really enjoying Biggie's slog through Dark Souls. His tenacity is admirable. I'm glad he found out. I'm glad he finally got out of Blighttown. I was creeping up to the point where I wanted to get my PS4 out of storage, recover my PSN account, and get PS Plus, so I could get the poor guy
Summon me.
Home to filing. Safe to say, not much battling. He made it out for now. Loving the show, chaps. Keep up the excellent work.
Thanks, mate.
So yeah, he's been enjoying your streams.
It was pushing me, man. I have to say, Blighttown.
It's
really...
a wall for a lot of people, mate. Don't worry about it. Push on.
And Gadget and I will be back on Wednesdays. By the time this comes out, we definitely will have finished our Dead Space 3 stream, and then we'll decide on what we're going to do after that. We want to push these, our D&D special. Get on that if you haven't yet, because we've had some great feedback from that. And like I said before, we put a lot of effort into it, especially Gadget. He put so much effort into it that it deserves to be listened to, because it's a really great 2-part we put out.
I worry about his full-time job, thinking about how much effort he put into that D&D. How do you manage the time, sir?
Barely. You're implying that I manage time. I was the idiot that said, let's do this D&D podcast, and I'll edit it, and it'll go out on Good Friday, and give myself a week to do that. Come out with 4 hours worth of recorded content to edit.
I mean, we are the podcast that really doesn't understand time anyway as a concept.
No.
We're known for that.
No.
And leave us those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. And just on that, if you go to Podchaser at the moment, go to their website and search for Modern Escapism. If you leave us a 5-star review throughout April, they'll donate 25 cents to Meals on Wheels, and we will reply, which means they'll double the donations. So not only do you get us a 5-star review for us, that you're doing something good for charity. So please go on to Podchaser, search for us, and leave us a review there. 5 stars only, though.
Yeah.
And just one last thing. We don't usually do this, but we're going to start doing this going forward. We're going to start letting you know what next week's show is going to be about, so you've got time to think about it. For those of you that are on social media as well who don't see the updates, you'll now know what it's about. So the Oscars is coming on the Sunday, the 25th of April. We're going to do something better.
Bigger.
We're going to do the biggies.
Yeah, boy!
We're going to do the awards for the people who got snubbed.
Yes.
So for those games, books, shows, films, whatever it is that you think got snubbed at awards season, let us know why and what you why. Let us know what you loved and why.
Not just the Oscars. Think BAFTAs. Think Razzies.
Yeah, anything.
Game Awards.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything.
Anything that was snubbed.
Emmys.
And we'll be giving that a biggie.
Which is
prestigious award of all.
Which is a solid gold statue, 7 foot tall, and it's beautiful.
Oh, so it's a 1-to-1 scale, is it?
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's basically me just painting in gold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay. It's going to be you every time.
Stand in the corner
They
for
all get a
week.
week each, yeah. It's like the FA Cup, you've got to give it back.
Oh.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, gentlemen. It's been a great episode. There's probably been cartoons and animation that we've missed and stuff, but feel free to write in, even on the Biggies episode next week. We will discuss any feedback you have. But all I can say from me, from the chaps, have a great week and stay safe.
Good, says the hungover man.
I have towed through this fucking thing. Good night. Oh, God, I am fucked, lads. My bumhole is like twitching now.